Hello, Pauper players, and welcome to the first video gameplay of this new channel. I'm going to play the Pauper Challenge, the Sunday Pauper Challenge with Mono Blue Tarot. I'm not really a huge fan of this specific tarot deck. I prefer much more the Dimmer deck, but more or less the deck is the same. Well, there are a lot of different cards between the two versions, and also you can play a large spectrum of different versions of the Dimir deck. So, well, you can say that we have a lot of different decks. We have a lot of different variations of the deck. So you may say that those are indeed different decks. To be honest, the core strategy um, is the same. Yeah, we have a more aggressive approach while playing Mono Blue and a more control-ish approach while playing Dimmer, especially the list with the sneaky snacker creatures. So you have less huge creatures. You don't play Delver Secrets, and you also don't play Gurmagangler or Cryptic Serpent usually. But if were able to see the Dimmer Terror deck I played and recorded and showed you on my primary channel, I play Cryptic Serpent as well in that specific deck, and I feel like Sneaky Snacker is not required and instead is quite bad in Terra for a lot of um, reasons. But to be honest, I think we should talk about the deck I'm going to showcase you in this video. So for that reason, let's talk about Mono Blue Terror. All right, so Mono Blue Terror is the most prevalent and most played tempo deck for Aggro-Control, if you prefer this second name in the format right now. The most played deck list of Mono Blue Terror is the Illuminati decklist. Illuminati is an MTGO pauper grinder and uh, got in a lot of top 8. He got a lot of results with his decklist in the recent months. I mean, since I think since the end of the last year, he was one of the most prolific mono blue terror player around the MTGO platform. So for that reason, a lot of people is choosing their deck list when they need to net deck one mono blue terror the deck list. As you can see, there are a lot of cards that rather there are slightly some variations from the Illuminati deck list, but I think it is important to note that nowadays no one, or rather it is not much played anymore, one specific card, which is Boomerang. Boomerang, a lot of people thought was better than Demi Inferior because, right now it's just a swap. I mean, minus 4 copies of Boomerang and plus 4 copies of Demon Inferior in most deck list. I feel like both Boomerang and Demon Inferior are inferior to another card, which is Leap of the Dead. But Luminati, I think, played both Demon Inferior and Sleep of the Dead in his last few deck lists. I think both cards are good in specific situations. To be honest, all those removals are bad because they are blue removals. So uh, it is probably correct to not play the full set of any of those cards. It is probably better to play just a couple cards, at maximum 3 copies of cards like the Inferior. And of course, I think we don't want to play more than 2 copies of Sleep of the Dead, especially in the main deck. You can play the 3rd copy of Sleep of the Dead in your sideboard, but only if you expect a lot of decks like Grow Monsters or Marvel Tile. even though against Mono Blue Terror you have a better sideboard cards, and you can already see that card in my sideboard, Murmuring Mystic. So we talk about Murmuring Mystic later. Let's focus first on the main deck. So the very reason to play mono blue over Dimir Terror is the presence of Delver of Secrets. Delver of Secrets is probably one of the best threats you can play in a mono blue aggressive shell, and you know mono blue Terror is more aggressive than Dimir Terror usually. Delver of Secrets is very strong, especially in the mirror match, because it is flying creature that costs only 1 mana and it allows you to play in the first 2 turns the creature. So starting the second turn, you can attack with an evasive 3 in power creature. That's kind of strong, you know. To be honest, the card, the War of Secrets, was very bad for a lot of years in Pauper, but it is now again playable thanks to Mono Blue Tarot, and of course thanks to the fact that Pauper nowadays is not more the Pauper it used to be a couple of years ago. So you know, when is it Scred, I mean is it Prairies become a tier 1 deck, it was playing Delver of Secrets alongside Fairy Miscreant and Spellstutter Sprite, but after the ban of Gash, and of course also due to the presence of more mid-range strategies, and also due to the Monarch ability being very strong at that time, Fairies is at Fairies, and Dimmer Fairies, they become more efficient as a control-ish or rather Monarch Ninja focused deck rather than a Delver deck. Right now, Mono Blue is probably the only deck playing Delver of Secrets. I think you can also cut Delver of Secrets from Mono Blue Terror, but okay, you can do that because Delver is not really strong against decks relying on Virgin Chrysalis and Earthful Vision Familiar, and also against decks like Mono Red. So, you know, most times you board out Delver of Secrets, so it might be wise to play more interaction instead of playing Delver of Secrets, especially if your opponent has a lot of interaction to it. The main reason to play Delver of Secrets anyway is that it might be the presence of combo decks in the format or very aggressive strategies like Buggles or Spy Combo. No, well, Elves. Yeah, I was needed to say Elves because you know Delver of Secrets is cheap damage. So basically, against those decks which are better as an aggro deck, you try to stick more damage in the early game and then try to counter the life gain or annoying threats. You know, elves, boggles are terrible matchups because they have a lot of they have bigger threats. So they have more creatures when it comes to elves, at least. They have bigger threats. So probably they have the upper hand in the matchup. For that reason, Delve of Secrets is good to steal the game, especially since you don't have cards like Snuff Out or Suffocating Fumes to prevent them to stick into many creatures on the battlefield. I think it is important to note, beside the presence of Delver and the presence of Cryptic Serpent in Mono Blue Terror, that every terror deck which relies on Totsukawa and Mental Note to fill the graveyard to speed up Tolarian Terror and Cryptic Serpent, it is important to note the amount of interaction they play. Specifically, they play 4 copies of Counterspell, 2 to 4 copies of 1 mana interaction like Dispel, Spell Pierce, or Force Spike. Specifically, we are going to play in this video Force Spike over Spell Pierce for a simple reason. We are likely to see a lot of copies of Spike Combo and Mono Red Madness. Against those decks, Spell Pierce is kind of medium. Well, Spell Pierce is good against Mono Red Madness because they have a very low land amount and we are maybe able to counter the draw spells. But Force Spike is good as well to counter Classic Flammeter, Voldaren APQ, and also Gutter Snipe, which is their best threat against us. If they are able to resolve a Gutter Snipe in game 1, then we are likely going to lose. So for that reason, Force Spike might be better in the current metagame. Of course, the card is good as well against decks like Fairies, but to be honest, Fairies is so bad that probably you don't really stand much against them. Yep, the most played Decklist, the most played Noble Terror Decklist plays 4 copies of Gutshot in the sideboard, but I don't really feel like playing the card. To be honest, I think the card is awesome against Fairies, but probably it is really bad against every other decks you are likely going to face. It is probably better to play Murmuring Mystic against decks like Grue Monster, Elves, or even Fairies. Yeah, I think Murmuring Mystic is good against Fairies. I mean, I started playing 2 or 3 copies of Murmuring Mystic in my sideboard to try to fight over Fairies, and the card felt very strong. So for that reason, I still prefer Mystic, especially since I can play cards like Force Spike in the main deck. I think it is important to note that this deck require a lot of card manipulation. So for that reason, I'm playing 4 copies of Brainstorm and 3 copies of Ponder. You can play 4 copies of Ponder, 4 copies of Mental Note, but I prefer to play 2 copies of Deep Analysis, at least 2 copies of Deep Analysis. Usually I play 4 copies, at least when I'm playing in paper, because in paper, at least here in Italy, decks like Jund, Wildfire, and Affinity are much more played compared to the online metagame. So for that reason, Deep Analysis is a must-have. After all, the card is probably the key to success against Jund. After all, if they have too many copies of Refurbished Familiar, if they have too much card advantage, they are able to draw so much interaction that you are forced to trade a lot of 2-for-1 or 1-for-1, and then you are very likely going to lose. Against a deck like Jund or against a deck like Affinity, you try, especially in the post-sideboard game, to deal with their artifacts in the early game, but if you aren't able to do that, and if the game goes longer, you are forced to interact with their creatures, like Virgin Chrysalis, so you are kind of forced to have a lot of 1-for-1 interaction, and then after that you need a way to be back in the game. That way, that card is just a raw card advantage, so Deep Analysis and lower reveal. So basically, in grindy matchup, in grindy matchup, Jan and also other mid-range or control strategies, you try to stick around a couple creatures in the early game. If they have answers, then you try in the mid game to keep your opponent to have too much advantage on the game, and then in the late game you fill your end with Lorne Revealed and Deep Analysis, trying to find your threats and your answers so you can again play your creatures and then try to kill your opponent. Alright, so we talked about the main deck plenty enough, I think, so it is time to talk about the sideboard. After all, it is supposed to be a deck tag, so it is probably better to keep it shortest as possible. Alright, so most times, most deck lists play, I think, 7 copies of Blue Elemental Blast and just 4 copies of Annual. I think it is important to play at least 5 copies of Annual or Steel Sabotage. Steel Sabotage, it is better when it comes to decks like Jund Wildfire and Affinity. You can bounce the artifact land in response to Cleansing Wildfire. But since there is a large amount of decks relying on enchantments like Boggles or even Elves, Nyxborg Hydra is an enchantment creature. It's important to have an answer to Nyxborg Hydra, and Annul is good. After all, against Elves, more or less you lose when they have too many big threats like General Synth, Mixed Hydra, the Initiative, and of course Timberwatch Elf or Well-Wisher. So for that reason, Annual it is better against elves. We also have a bunch of Blue Elemental Blast and Hydro Blast because, after all, um, you don't have unexpected tanks and you need to pay respect to the threats of those mono-red decks. After all, they have Goblin Tomb Raider with an Epicure, and as we said before, Gutter Sniping Casing Flame Breacher, that could be probably the most annoying threat since they deal damage without relying on the combat. I think it is also good to play envelope in this channel after in this challenge. After all, envelope is good both against madness and also against spy combo. Spy combo relies on a large amount of sorcery spells. Some, I guess, since the first turn, they may have a land grant. They may also have the Sago Wildling, because the part of the card that fetch your land is a sorcery, but you can also, of course, counter Winding Way, Lead Stampede, and most important of them all, Dread Return. So being able to counter Dread Return may be the key to prevent your opponent from comboing off. Spy probably is a bad matchup. So maybe if we face Spy, we are going to bring in both Envelope and Murmuring Mystic. And we are playing Force Spike as a way to counter the turn 1 or turn 2 or the Battlement. In that way, Force Spike is better than Spell Pierce, especially since they are very likely going to tap out in the early turns to try to fetch their lands, so we can counter both those 2-mana creatures and the spells that let them fetch a land. That's very important part of the card, I think. So, thanks to the presence, thanks to the high amount of decks like Spy and Madness, I think it's a good call to play Envelope in this sideboard. And I think that's all. I wanted to bring to you Mono Blue Terror as a first video because I I see there are a lot of people demand a lot of demands about Mono Blue Terror content in English. So I think you people might like this deck. I also want to bring you Dimir Terror maybe not in the next video, maybe in a later video in a couple of weeks, because I think it could be cool to see the main differences between Mono Terror and Dimir Terror. I don't really like Izzet Scred. I mean the red splashing Terror deck because it played a very different game play compared to these other two Terror deck. It is still playable. After all, a lot of people played that deck in the current metagame. But in my opinion, the deck is not good. So for that reason, I think it is better to stick with Mono Blue or even better to Dimir. In my opinion, Dimir it is better as deck, but Mono Blue it is more played than Dimir, and probably it is better as a way to interact with decks you are not expecting, thanks to the presence of Delver of Secrets, but also thanks to its mana base. So I think we talked about this deck plenty enough. Enjoy your video. Alright everyone, time to shine. We are facing for you bro. We are on the draw. But we have a decent starting end, even though we don't really have much card manipulation, but we have a Lorien Revealed and a Titskawar followed up by a Tolarian Terror and an Immune Fear. I think we should keep this starting end. Since the opponent is also starting first, maybe we are able to draw a Ponder or a Brainstorm. Another land is fine as well. Okay, I think we should pass. We can leave the mana open to cast for Spike on their Kitchen Imp if they are not mono red, but instead Rakdos Metas. But I think we still don't know what the deck of the opponent may be. Okay, so the exciting one High Grade Robbery, They're likely to be Mono Red Madness since it is the most played deck right now. Hmm, I think we should go for Totsukawa or maybe Lurian. Probably Lurian. I mean, if you draw Ponda or Brainstorm, it is better to have the Totsukawa so we know what we don't want to let your opponent have on the battlefield. Okay, I think we should pass. I mean, we are not forced to do anything right now. We just leave the mana open to cast Totsukawa and eventually Force Spike. We just need to counter the relevant spells like Gutter Snipe or the draw spells. I mean, they have a lot of cards that they don't want to let countered. We don't have spell spurs here, which is probably maybe better. It is maybe better against the sorcery spells, but still Force Spike is very good. I think we are likely be able to cast Force Spike on something. I mean, I played. I mean, I enlisted in this deck list for Spike, thinking it may be good against Mono Red since you can counter the creature. So maybe we will likely to see the spell do something relevant. I don't know yet. They're probably going to cast their Highway Robber. Okay, that's fine. We let it resolve, sadly, but I suppose we're going to see maybe a Sneaky Snacker. Yeah, but well, I think very likely for them to have. We need a Brainstorm. Let's see if they want to do something. We can eventually Demon Inferior their Snacker, which is still a good play since they don't really. Oh, 3 mana. Force Spike. Finally. One mana to counter a creature that costs 3 mana. It's a lot of value from our side of the game. So we mill 2 copies of Lure Revealed, and then we draw a Brainstorm so we can indeed cast Demon Furor on their Sneaky Snacker, and we also cast the Tolarian Terror. So we start with Brainstorm. Okay, that's not good. Okay, okay. Let me think about it a little bit. I guess we just put 2 islands on the top, and now we have a couple plays that might be relevant for the next few turns. Surely we are going to cast Devil Twilight Terror like this though. I mean, after all, 2 terrors are much better to close the game as fast as possible. They're not will not be able to block with Epicure since we have the Sleep of the Dead, unless they have another creature like another Gator Snipe in hand. They're likely to have a Gator Snipe, or they just wanted to play around counterspell on Gator Snipe by casting the Highway Robbery. And then, since we did not have the counterspell on the robbery, they landed the Gator Snipe. I guess we don't really have much choice here. I mean, after all, we just have a very bad draws with the Brainstorm, just lands and another Tulagan Terror, which is probably the only. Yeah, I guess it's the only relevant cards we were able to draw with the Brainstorm. All right, so if they have a Gutter Snipe, we are going to put the creature on the top with the Demon Inferior. If they don't have a Kessig or a Gutter Snipe, we are casting Demon Inferior on the Snacker and then cast Sleep of the Dead on the Epic. Alright, have a Kessig. Well, I guess Demon Inferior on the Kessig, so that creature will not doing anything relevant next turn. Okay, that's full damage to me. We are attacking now, or we are tapping their Epicure. I feel like we don't have much time. So, Sleep of the Dead, target Epicure. next turn they are forced to choose between killing me or protecting their game plan. But we have a Sleep of the Dead in the graveyard, so they can't really do much, I guess. All right, another Kestig. That's the second copy of Kestig Flamberto. They're not attacking. How much mana do we have? Just 5 mana. That's not near enough to kill them. I guess if you attack, they're going to block with the Snacker. I feel like we are forced to cast Sleep of the Dead on their Snacker, so they are forced to block with the Kessig. Yeah, that's probably the best play here. Mm, I'm not sure if this is the right choice to cast him Inferior, but probably yes, because we are putting on the top one dead card. That card is this Necker, and they are going to draw another copy of Kessig next turn. So are we are forcing the opponent to draw one dead card. That's fine to me, I think. Yeah, it is better to cast an Inferior here. So Snacker on the top. Well, they can put its Snacker on the bottom of the deck. That's true as well. Anyway, we have enough cards in the graveyard to cast it two times the Synth of the Dead from the graveyard. So probably that's fine as well, casting right now the Inferior instead of Sleep of Dead. Alright, they're blocking with the Kessig. They choose bottom. That's okay. Okay. You have Gillard Art. Let's see if you have another burn spell. You flashback in Gillard Art. It's a half Fire Blast and Lava Dart. How much damage it is. Alright. So what are you going to do here? Faithless looting. Alright. I think they can't really play around anything right now. So they're probably just going phase, hoping I don't have any form of interaction. And indeed, I don't have anything. Okay, so I have. Wait. They did not draw any relevant spell, or rather, they have a lot of dodge in the graveyard. So they just needed one copy of Fire Blast to kill me because they already have 2 damage on the battlefield. So yeah, I guess 2 copies of Tolarian Terror is good enough for this first game. And okay, now we need to think a little bit on who we want to sideboard. Seems like okay. How many cards I can bring in? We are cutting Deep Analysis and Sleep of the Dead, I think. Mm, maybe even Delver of Secrets, right? I don't really like Delver of Secrets against them because they're likely going to keep or Lightning Bolt or Loud to interact with my creatures. So instead of keeping the Delvers, it is wiser to cut all those creatures to bring in more interaction. We aren't really the aggro deck in this matchup. I think we can play a better role of a control deck, at least in the first turns. I mean, they can play as well a relevant control role, but they lack the amount of interaction we have. So we can just go more controlish than them and kill them starting by, I guess, turn 4. I mean, if we counter the first few turns, then we are able to land a Tolarian Terror or double Tolarian Terror like we did in the first game, then we are likely going to win against them. I think we have a lot of interaction, we have a lot of good cards against them, so just need to draw those cards, and we also need to play wisely enough to not die from any relevant form of interaction from them. All right, so we have both Lantern, a Cryptic Serpent as win conditions. I need to figure out if I want to keep Demon Fear, but since they have the Sneaky Snacker, probably it is better to bring in the Mirror Mystic. Even though Demon Fear could be good as a way to uh, as it could be good as a removal spell, sort of, if they are able to land a Snacker or a Cassie or a Gutter Sniper in the air game. To be honest, I think bringing in Moonberg Mystic is not bad play. I mean, after all, they may have a relic of progenitors in their graveyard, so probably it is still fine to have a way to win without relying on the graveyard. And also, since they may have a relic of progenitors in order like keeping Sleep of the Dead. I think Sleep of the Dead is not good against them because yeah, they have Sneaky Snacker. Snacker is good both as a blocker and of course as an attacker. Yeah, they have the relic. All right. So now we're just waiting for them to play something more relevant than the relic. I mean, after all, yeah, we have double creature, and that's an easy counter to, yeah. I mean, after all, modern Epicure could be quite strong as a way to cheap damage. Oh, they don't have the second land. So they moved it down to 6, played Relic on first turn. And that's good to me. That's good. Okay, so what do we need to do here? I think we just need to pass the turn. They're forced to crack the relic, so let's see if they're going to do that. If they're not cracking the relic, the game is pretty much over from my point of view. We can get rid of those 2 creatures. After all, we have at least other 8 creatures. I mean, another 3 copies of Terror, 3 copies of Serpent, and 2 copies of Murmuring Mystic. So if they wanna exile my cards, if they wanna exile my graveyard, that's fine to me. I have plenty enough cards. That's a Pyroblast on Mental Note. That's fine. That's fine to me. Go on. Oops, I forgot to cast its cover on the upkeep. Very bad for me. Let's see if we're this milling out any other relevant cards. We have another land on the top deck. We aren't able to cast the Cryptic Serpent right now, so we just pass the turn. Let's see. Alright, you are free to exile my island from the graveyard, still keeping 1 land. Okay, my friend, that's fine. Totsukawa. I guess I'm not casting any other Totsukawa right now. We forcing the opponent to crack the relic. That's fine, I guess. We have a Cryptic Serpent, we have another Kobold Totsukawa. They weren't able to do anything relevant until now, so the game was pretty much over since the start, thanks to their keep. Okay, so first spike may be the best counterspell from this, and the island maybe we don't want to draw it, so we are just drawing the post spike right now, test the turn, and then wait for the opponent to do something. Let's see if they have another land. If they don't have it, first spike on the Rodale Epicure, that's fine to me. All right, so let me think if I want to cast the Skawa here, getting rid of the Dispel, maybe not, because the opponent have a lot of Pyroblast and Red Elemental Blast in their deck, so probably it's better to draw the Dispel, even though it is an instant spell, so we are not really getting much advantage from the Toothkawa, but we still get rid of 1 dead card. After all, island, we don't really need another island right now. I mean, we have so many lands compared to the opponent, which have only 1. So let's wait for the opponent to do something. We mill down 1 lower read alongside the island. Terra costs 3 mana, so we're just casting another Totsukawa. Let's see if we have enough spells. To learn Terra, it costs only 1 mana. Okay, I think I don't wanna play the Cryptic Serpent just to play around Pyroblast. So we play the Terra, we pass the turn, we can counter everything. I mean, we have a lot of cheap interaction. Okay, I feel like not letting them finding the second land. Also, I don't really like the idea of letting them discarding the snacker, the sneaky snacker. So we cast the Cryptid Serpent, attack with the Terror and Terror, and then just wait for the opponent to die. I mean, after all, they need to draw better than we had right until now. Okay, that's an easy Hydroblast. We don't really need to think right now what they may have. I mean, after all, we're just uh, we prevent them from drawing extra cards, and also we prevent the snacker to get back on the battlefield. So that's an easy game, and the opponent scoop. That was a really easy game too. I mean, after all, the opponent was really unlucky with the lands. So that's it for the first game. We are, I think, 87 players. That's a lot more players than I I were able to see this, prior the start. I mean, I thought we were just 72 players, but 87 players. That means 7 rounds. So if we're able to get enough wins, we might be able to get in the top 8. We need 6 wins to be able to lose just at least one match. Keep in mind that losing 2 matches might be uh, a GG. I mean, after all, if you lose more than one game, more than one match, you are likely to not get in the top 8. You are still able, or rather, a few players might still be able to get in the top 8 even with a score like 5-2. But to be honest, since we are playing an online event, you can't intentionally draw the last match of the tournament. So there is no way to sneak in the top 8 without having a perfect score or a X1 score. So we just need to win and play better than the opponent, and of course have more luck than the opponent. That's probably the most relevant part when it comes to NT. All right, we are starting against first for the second round. We have a decent start. We have a Delver turn 1. We have the Brainstorm to um, be sure to flip the Delver if necessary. Let's see what is going to play the opponent. Maybe we don't want to play. Oh, okay. There's a Tyrant Mirror match. Okay, let me think. I believe it is better to not play yet the Brainstorm. We flip the Delver with Lorien Reveal it because if we cast here the Brainstorm without being able to cast as well the Mental Note, we are forced to draw one card, and I'm not really like to do that. Okay, so it is better to cast right now Brainstorm. We are able to find something, then we can keep the mana open to cast Force Spike or Dispel, or just cast Mental Note. And I think I'm going to cast Mental Note here. And what we don't need? Maybe the Ponder. So we keep Lorien Revealed and Brainstorm. Yeah, that's good. That's a good deal. Ponder is good, but probably it is better to just have a way to shuffle instant speed with the Brainstorm. So Mental Note to play around this or something similar. We attack with the Dava. Alright, so Slip of the Dead is cool as a way to tap their Dava, but I'm not sure if I want to tap out to cast Slip of the Dead and exile 3 cards in my graveyard. So I'm probably going to cast Brainstorm in the main phase, and then eventually leave the mana open to cast Counterspell in their turn. We can instant speed fetch with Lorien, so that's fine to me. They flip the Delver with Counterspell. They have another Delver. We're attacking with the Delver. Their second delver is likely going to flip thanks to the brainstorm, so they have a better start compared to the main. We have another ponder on the top deck. That's good. Alright, so we attack. I think it's still better to cast a cantrip in my main phase, so I'm going to cast Ponder, try to find something better. Okay, that's a Cryptic Serpent. So I think I'm going to draw eventually the Ponder and leave the Mountain Note as the last card. And turn 1 Delver, blind flip, turn 3 Cryptic Serpent. Since we are on the play, I think that's a good start. So now we can eventually wait for the opponent to try to interact with my creature. So, or eventually we can play maybe better than them. Next turn I'm likely going to cast the Brainstorm, trying to find a land or a creature. So they have Brainstorm, Mental Note, discarding 2 lands, discarding milling out 2 lands. So they cast another Mental Note. Let's see if they have a creature. They don't have creature. Yeah, they already played 2 Mental Notes. So I think they're going to think about it. If attacking with both Delvers, not attacking, they probably want to block my Delver. All right, so let me think. We have a Ponder on the top deck. I think it's fine to draw the Ponder, but then I need to fetch with my Lawyer to cast Slip of the Dead on their Delver, so I can attack for 9 and be lethal eventually in their next turn. I think I also want to draw the Ponder, so I can play another spell next turn. And I think we are going to still be the aggro deck right now. So we tap the Delver by exiling 3 spells. Next turn we can cast. Oops. How many cards I need to exile? Just 3 cards. Okay. So we cast the Slip of the Dead. Boom. We attack for 9 damage. Now they need to find something. And they can untap with a Delver. If they have a Cryptic Serpent or Lawyer Rare Terror would be very bad for me because I'm forced to play with them having 2 mana open eventually. How many spells they have in the graveyard? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Demon Furor as a second card. Okay. So we aren't lethal. Let me think if I want to draw this Cryptic Serpent later. We have 3 spells. We cast Brainstorm and Ponder. I think second from the top is fine. We are going to cast again the Cryptic Serpent. I think I don't want to cast my Slip of the Dead. Oh, there's a Lawyer, really. That's fine. That's good. It's cool. Alright, Brainstorm. If we find 1 land, that would be good enough. Spell Pierce. Okay, they want to prevent me from casting the Cryptic Serpent. What I want to do here? I want to let them counter my Brainstorm. I have a Cryptic Serpent on the top, so I need to cast Ponder to draw the Cryptic Serpent, and I also need to cast Lore Revealed, probably. I think it is wiser to let them counter the Brainstorm if I want to play, if I want to kill them as fast as possible. But they still have 3 cards in hand. They have a couple of counter spell, so it's probably better to pay those 2 mana. So I wait 1 turn, but if I can draw 1 card, 1 land, I mean, I am able then to play more smoothly for the next few turns. And I was also able to find another Cryptic Serpent. So we are keeping the island. We are probably also going to keep the Lone Village. We have 5 mana in total. We are attacking with the Delver to trade with their Delver. Then we cast a Cryptic Serpent. We don't have enough mana, so we are with the mana open eventually. Yep, that's right. I am going to counter it, the creature. So I think we can put one Cryptic Serpent on the top. Maybe we draw first the Ponder. Maybe we can just keep the Lorien Reveal on top alongside the Cryptic Serpent. That's fine. Yep. So attack. They're forced to block here. All right. And then we wait. Next turn, we play Ponder. We draw the second Cryptic Serpent and try to counter it. They have just 2 cards in hand. They have Dispel. Can't really play around that card. They attack with the Delver. I play Ponder. If I draw land, I think I'm going to play it. Delver, Secret, Force Spike. I think I don't want to draw the Force Spike. I'm casting first the Cryptic Serpent. I'm not sure if I also want to draw the Delver, but I think I want to draw the Lorien Revealed and casting probably double Cryptic Serpent this turn. So next turn I can draw the Lorien Revealed instead of the Delver. That's fine. That's fine. They're likely going to have another interaction. Yeah, no reason to shuffle. Oh well, I'm also going to draw the Delver. So next turn we can indeed draw the Delver and play Cryptic Serpent and Delver and flip the Delver. Team Inferior. Oh, that's brutal. That's a very strong top deck for them. We are taking 8 damage. Maybe we lose this game. That's brutal. Double Team Inferior on the top deck. Okay, let me think. If you let the Demon Inferior Soul and put the Serpent on top, the Delver is not going to flip. And I need the Delver to flip, so I'm going to bottom the Crypt Serpent. We're attacking for 8. I have 11 lives left, so... Oh, they're little, so that doesn't really matter. Oh wait, we have the Slip of the Dead. So we tap their Insectal Aberration. We have a Force Spike on the top deck. Okay, so we also need another land for the next turn. We are forced to Slip of the Deed that the Delver. Wait, maybe first I need to cast my Cryptic Serpent. Shuffle. Island. Slip of the Dead, your Delver. Exile a bunch of useless cards. Oh wait, I need to cast first my Cryptic Serpent. And then we cast the Slip of the Dead. Alright, so now we have a plan. We chump block the Terra. We stun again the Delver. What do we have? Lorien on the top deck. Alright. Honda. Alright. We are forced to block because they have little, and we can tap their Tolarian Terror. If they don't attack here, we are going to win next turn. So we block. We draw something. Mental Note. I guess that's fine. And tip analysis on the top deck. That's not fine. So exile 2 creatures and 1 instant, cast the Slip of the Dead, and pass the turn. We have 2 turns later. They have 1 turn later with the Delver. Alright, Cryptic Serpent. Slip of the Dead. Zero cards in hand. We draw Tlarentel. I think we don't have any way to. Hmm. Let me think. I'm forced to cast double Sleep of the Dead because they have lethal with their Sleep of the Dead. I don't have a lot of cards in my graveyard. I think I need to draw one, at least one Demon Fury to win this game, right? We can play the Tolaran Terror, Demon Fury, the Delver, but they're still lethal. So I guess they were just much. They just had more luck than me. After all, they were able to top deck a Demon Fury with zero cards in hand when I had little damage, and the game is pretty much over thanks to that. Yeah, we can concede and go to the second game. So sideboarding is kind of easier against them, to be honest. We bring in the Murmuring Mystics, we have a bunch of cards that aren't really helpful against them, and now we need to think what we don't really like. To be honest, I think Demon Fury is quite good. I mean, after all, it forces you to not not really to pay respect to Demon Fury, but it forces you to have a bad deal. After all, Sleep of the Dead is a kind of game over cards when it is late in the game, but Demon Fury is good to stop their aggro in the early game. I think I lost game one thanks to their top deck, to the Demon Fury on the top deck. Now we need to think what we don't really like in this game. Surprisingly, Counterspell is probably the worst card in this matchup because you are forced to pay 2 mana instant speed to interact with the creature. So for that reason, Demon Fury is better than Counterspell because you can play Demon Fury in your main phase. After all, most times is just who is better on spending their mana in their turn. After all, you are relying on time advantage. So we start first. Let's think on what we should do here. I think that's a key. I mean, we have a lot of mana. We have a cheap interaction. I mean, cheap manipulation. Then we can think on what to do. All right. So ponder. Yeah, that's better to cast the ponder. Since we have Brainstorm and Lauren to shuffle in the instant speed, I guess we're going to draw the counter spell and pass the turn. Turn 2 counter spell on the play is kind of good. Let's see if it is good enough. I mean, if they have a Delver, it's probably better to do something else rather than counter spell. Let's see. If they tap out, we cast the Brainstorm, trying to find something good. Okay. Let us brainstorm resolve. And then we cast our brainstorm. And eventually we also cast the mental note. I guess it is better to just shuffle with the Lauren reveal it. Yeah. I think I prefer to mill spells rather than okay, they have the Sleep of the Dead. They mill one Lauren Village, so they have the land. We shuffle with Lauren because I don't wanna put in the bin 2 islands right now. We draw 1 card. Ponder. Alright. Yeah. I can play Mental Note, hoping to find some stuff. I think it is better to cast first Ponder. I can eventually still play the Mental Note. Okay. I guess that's shuffle. The analysis. I prefer the deep analysis makeover rather than okay. Um, if I play mental note, they can counter it with this Pelpius. So this is probably still better to cast counterspell in their turn. Um, Brainstorm, sure, go on. If they have a mental note, maybe I'm forced to cast the counterspell. Alright, 1, 2, 3. I'm not sure because it depends on how many creatures they have in hand, how many lands. Well, we are still. Oh, okay. Double mental note. That's cow. Oh, they bring in the Gat shot to counter to destroy my Dalvos. They have the Tolerant Terror, but we also have the Tolerant Terror. Um, alright. That's a no-brainer. Cryptic Serpent and Tolerant Terror. Your turn upon it. That's good. 2 mana. Then tap, mental note, island. 1 mana, 2 mana, dim inferior. Okay, I guess second from the top. That's fine to me. And we block. We draw a card. Mental note. They have 1 mana open, so I think it's fine to cast Ponder here. So we draw the Cryptic Serpent. I guess we can also cast Mental Note digging double Burnstorm. Yeah, maybe that's. Oh, wait, we have a Mental Note in it, so we draw the Burnstorm. Use Ponder. Let's see if they have a Dispel. Hope they don't have it. They have it. Okay. I did not play around the Brainstorm. No, well, maybe I could play around the Brainstorm by just casting the Cryptic Serpent instead of casting the Brainstorm. Oh, okay. Now it is kind of tough because they can counterspell my Cryptic Serpent, so I'm forcing them to have any kind of interaction on the deep analysis, so they have one less interaction to Cryptic Serpent, hopefully. Okay, they choose to not counter the Serpent, or maybe they don't have counterspell. That's Kawa. Hmm. Should I cast the Brainstorm? Maybe not yet. Cryptic Serpent and Lair Terror. We can cast the Brainstorm in their turn, since we are kind of short of mana, and we also need to find other creatures. They pass the turn. Maybe we can also find interaction like this spell. First place is probably best. And now, Dimifir is good. Okay, I think I'm going to draw, I think, everything beside the second mental note, maybe? Or maybe I don't want to draw the Laurel Villa. Yeah, we can dig the Laurel Villa right now. We have a deep analysis in the graveyard. I'm going to cast my. Oh, they have a double counter spell then. I have already revealed in my top deck. Demon Fury cost how much mana? 3 mana. Alright. So I'm casting another mental note. No, wait, I have a deep analysis, but they're probably going to counter it anyway. Right. So Demon Fury, tap 2 mana. Let's see if they solve it. Counter spell. Alright. I think I'm going to play Declare Terra because they don't have enough mana to tap it with the Slip of the Dead unless they have a land. They draw the land. Alright, we can tap out. And I guess we are pretty much dead here. Demon Fear. Ah, they have a Demon Fear, not Escape. Okay, second from the top then, because we have a deep analysis in the graveyard. So we flashback and play double creature. I'm going to lose from just one combat.
I have another deep analysis in my deck, right? So maybe I should. There's not much any reason to mill me because if I draw deep analysis, I think I want to draw it. I can still play the brainstorm since I have enough mana. Double Delva. Okay. Top. Maybe top, terror, cryptic serpent. Your turn. Now your choice, my opponent. You can tap all my creature. Just one creature. You're going to tap my cryptic serpent or my Clarent terror. But if you do that, you are probably going to lose one creature. Okay, they tap it out. Maybe they don't tap anything relevant. Okay, they cannot attack. They can choose to not attack. Yeah. Okay, we are losing one Delver then. Oh, I have a Dispel on top deck. That's brutal. That's brutal because they have enough cards in their graveyard, so they can still kill me thanks to the Slip of the Dead. Ah, that's brutal. All right, I guess. Oh, they choose to cast Ponder over Slip of the Dead. Okay, because they don't have enough mana to cast Slip of the Dead 2 times. No, well, they can still cast the Slip of the Dead after casting Ponder. So we are going to lose one Delva. That's already troublesome. And we have one Dispel on the top deck, which doesn't do much. This game over. So the game is pretty much relying on Slip of the Dead and Demon Fear to remove your opponent creatures. If you have enough interaction for the creatures, similarly to the Demon Terror Mirror match, you are able to win because you are more or less forced to tap out during your turn to resolve your stuff when your opponent is probably not going to play anything. I mean, after all, you want to resolve your creatures, so you try to stick your creatures on the battlefield and then you try to resolve your opponent's creatures. My opponent had more creatures than me in the early game. I probably draw the wrong part of the deck, but I think moving down that starting end was an error. After all, having less resources than your opponent is likely going to cost you the game, and the inferior is kind of good in that way because it is similar to duress. Okay, you are discarding one of your opponent's creatures when your opponent was able to already play it. It is a reactive spell. No, or rather, it is a proactive kind of card. I mean, counter spell, you are forced to keep your 2 mana open during your opponent's turn, while Demon Fury, you can play it during your turn in any kind of any turn later after your opponent resolves the creature. That's really sad. I mean, probably we just lose to the opponent having a sleep analysis, sleep of the dead early in the game. Maybe I'm not really sure. The game mirror match is kind of difficult to understand. I mean, after all, you need to have better draw than your opponent, but also to understand which how the game is going on. Probably it's just a matter of who has more luck. Maybe. I mean, game one, we played a decent game, but the opponent had a Demon Inferior on the top deck. That's basically whole the whole game resolving around the opponent top decking Demon Inferior. So the game resolved only on the opponent resolving one card on the top deck, by the way. So it's not really I draw I played more wisely my cantrips or my counter spell. It's just, yeah, I have a demon figure. But you losing one creature and I'm attacking you with enough damage to kill you in your next turn. We're starting first again for the third round, and we have a very Very dumb starting end. I mean, we have a mental note, we have 4 lands, we have 2 copies of Cryptic Serpent. We're starting first. We are going to draw 1 card next turn, and we also have a mental note. If we draw a Lorien Revealed, we are going to cycle it. We are also casting mental note to bin 2 cards. I guess this starting end is kind of pointless because we will be relying on drawing at least 1 instant or sorcery spell. So for that reason, we can probably mulligan it. I think it's kind of risky to keep the starting end. I mean, usually you really want to keep an end with the P of card manipulation, especially if it is Toskawa or mental note and lands. But we have probably 1 lens to match, and we don't have a ponder or brainstorm to find other instant or sorcery spell to be in the graveyard. And this second end is much better. And I think we are going to get rid of the Sleep of the Dead, since, yeah, Sleep of the Dead. I mean, after all, we prefer to keep everything else. This spell is much more versatile. We want to play Delver on turn 1, since it is the best play we can do beside casting a Ponder or Brainstorm. And we are facing mono red Synth. Alright, so we blind flip the Delver with the Brainstorm. Alright, so Ponder. We found also the land. I think we are going to keep the mental note eventually. We play land and attack with the Delver. We are attacking with the Delver here instead of keeping it to block this Goblin Tomb Raider, because my opponent is more red synth, so it is very likely for them to have a lot interaction. So we try to eventually just swing the damage instead of preventing it. Okay, we have a mental note on the top deck. I think I'm going to cast Scours because we already know we have 2 more or less dead cards. Okay, that's weird. Why you didn't cast the lightning bolt during your turn? Well, anyway, Delver is dead. Alright, we draw another Delver and another land. We are still missing 1 card to cast the Tolarian Terror. I think I'm going to play the Brainstorm. Okay, now our land drops will not be a problem anymore. I suppose we're going to play the Tolarian Terror here, so we can jump block. We can block the Goblin Tomb Raider, and next turn we attack with the Terror and play the Cryptic Serpent. So now we draw land, cast Serpent and Delver, forcing them to kill the Delver. Next turn we have Deep Analysis in the graveyard. I think from their point of view it is better to kill the Delver. So killing Delver here, forcing the opponent to cast Lightning Bolt of Delver, I think it's fine because we also have 1 island on the top deck. Okay, they play Synth, drawing Voldaren Epico with the Synth, Lightning Bolt on Delver, I suppose. I mean, you can wait for me showing you what cards I'm going with Delver. That's true. Ah, okay, they wanna cast their Lightning Bolt on Cryptic Serpent. Okay, that's fine to me. I take 2 damage. That's a wise play from them. I mean, okay, we are still... Oh, Lightning Bolt on me? Okay. Are you going to bolt my Delver now? I'm not showing you what I'm doing. Do you have the Delver? Do you have the... I think I'm not attacking with the Delver here. If you attack with the Delver, they can block the Serpent and the Delver, taking 5 damage. I think we can attack with the Crippled Serpent, keep the Tolerant Arrow back. I think also we should cast the Deep Analysis even though we are losing 3 life because I need to draw some cards. Maybe they are now going to cast a Lightning Bolt on my Delver. That was weird for them. Oh dear. Casting the bolt targeting me. But I suppose it's kind of fine. If I attack with my Crippled Serpent, they take in 6 damage, going down to 6. Then they attack with all the creatures. We are taking 2 damage from their epicures. We block the complete Tomb Raider. I think we are also going to block 1 epicure, to be honest. So if I attack with everything, they block the Serpent and the Delver. And that's fine to me. But they can also just block the Crippled Serpent and take 6 damage, then they swing back for 3 damage and go me down to 6. So we need to think a little bit. Right, we attack with the Crippled Serpent. It's probably fine because they're very likely going to take the 6 damage. Next turn we have... Alright. Surprising, not surprising, they blocking with the Modern Epicure. I crack the Synth. Clockwork Percussionist. Play land, Clockwork Percussionist. Attack with everything, I guess. They don't attack with their creatures. Right, Delver? Delver of Secrets revealing another Delver. Not revealing it. And I guess I'm going to cast Lore Revealed, and then eventually cast the Delver. They have 2 cards in hand. If I draw something irrelevant, I'm going to play it. Nothing irrelevant, just Deep Analysis and Tatkawa, but we have a lot of lands, so that's kind of fine. They don't have an instant spell. Alright. Synthesizer, Flip Mountain. Play Rancer Wolf. In order to creatures. Goblin Rider and Goblin Clockwork Percussionist. They have just 1 card in hand. They did not attack with nothing. I'm going to reveal Force Spike. And then cast the Tower targeting me, being the Force Spike, draw a Cryptic Serpent. 5, 6 mana. Okay, Ponder. Try to find a counter spell. Demon Furrier. Okay, let me think. We have little damage with 2 Delvers. I guess we don't wanna keep the Demon Furrier right now. We attack with the Delvers, play the Cryptic Serpent, keep the Dispel up. If I cast Demon Furrier, I can draw both Dispel and Demon Furrier and cast Demon Furrier on the Samurai token, which is more or less the same as casting the Cryptic Serpent. Yeah, I suppose so. So I think I'm keeping all the cards. And I'm also casting the Demon Furrier. How much mana? Just 1 mana. So I can play both Cryptic Serpent and Demon Furrier. I guess we should attack first. To be honest, we can eventually bounce back to Tomb Raider, but they can play again the Tomb Raider next turn with the Synthesizer, so it is better to bounce the token so they can't play the creature anymore, so it's leaving the battlefield. Now your turn, opponent, you didn't attack me next in the prior turn. So what do you have now? They crack the Synth to reveal Galvanic Blast. If they have another bolt in hand, they're very likely going to kill. Oh! They had the Bashwaka. So now a counter spell. I guess that's game over. Yep, pretty much game over. Galvanic Blast and Gable Meshworker was pretty too much. Alright, so we are able to lose the. I mean, the game one is clearly bad for us because we have a bunch of bad cards like Delve of Secrets, Deep Analysis, Team Inferior, and we're able to Sleep of the Dead. So that's sound 10 cards which are really bad. Against them, we are going to bring in Ice Blast and Blue Elemental Blast, but that's just just 5 cards. Not, oh wait, we play 2 copies of Blue Elemental Blast, not just one. So that's 4 cards. Then we should also bring in some copies of Steel Sabotage and Armor. I'm not sure about Envelope because they have a lot of instant speed spells, so probably it's not worth to bring in Envelope. I also think it's not worth to bring in Murmuring Mystic. Maybe it is reasonable to keep the Demon Inferior because the Demon Inferior can be a removal spell on the at least on the tokens or on other creatures. You know, Demon Inferior I think is bad because they have cheap creatures, but they it is good against the Samurai token, but not very good against anything else. I think I'm going to bring in the Steel Sabotage for sure, and at least 1 copy of Ammo. I'm going to get rid of those copy of of the Mefer to bring in another copy of the Ammo. Probably, yeah. I mean, after all, the Clockwork Percussionist and the Experimental Synthesizer are very strong against us. Also, you can counter the Relic of Progenitus if they have one. So, eventually, you can counter the Goblin Tomb Raider with Anu. You can still counter any other artifact threats or artifact territorial threats. Well, you can't counter Voldaren Epicure. Oh, they have the Tomb Raider. Oh no, the Force Spike. I think I'm going to draw. I think I'm going to draw the Lorien Revealed, but I'm not drawing the Cryptic Serpent because it's still too early for it. No Blood Elemental Blast or Counterspell, maybe Tough, but I have the Force Spike. Force Spike is good. And you know, I have an Annul to counter the Clockwork Percussionist. They have another artifact card. So they're attacking with just the Tomb Raider, the Spy, we cycled it, Lorien Village, so we get rid of the Cryptic Serpent, we draw 1 land with the Lorien Village. There is a Mountain Note, better than nothing, I guess. So we pass the turn. I mean, we can technically play the Mountain Note, that's fine. Lightning Bolt, no problem at all. I mean, we can take one while Lightning Bolt so early in the game. They probably have, okay, they don't really have anything relevant in it, it seems like. So, oh, 2 islands on the graveyard, and 1 island on the top. Another island, maybe. Ponder is better than an island. Cryptic Serpent, 2 islands. So we now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spells. We can technically play the Cryptic Serpent. But should we do? I mean, after all, they're not doing anything relevant, and I'm not really willing to play the Cryptic Serpent, especially since I have 2 bad top decks with this Ponder. But to be honest, I believe if we are able to draw those lands, then any other copy of Lorien Revealed would be would be extra card advantage, so maybe we can draw those lands. Alright, so we are going to draw the Cryptic Serpent and those 2 lands because we have 4 counter spells for 1 mana counter spells in hand. We wait 1 turn, we take 1 damage from the Goblin Tomb Raider. I want to play around double red elemental blast on my Cryptic Serpent. We take 1 damage. They pass the turn again, we draw 1 land. We play the land, and we play also the Cryptic Serpent. If you have a Pyro, I have a Dispel. If I have double Pyro, I have a Dispel and also Force Spike. End of turn Pyro, yeah. I suppose they had it. So let's see if they want to cast another Pyroblast. I think they are likely going to do that. And now he had the force spike. Easy peasy. Not quite as good as Spell Pierce, but good enough. And also have the Annual to counter the experimental synthesizer, so better than nothing, I guess. With attack, we block. They cast synthesizer. They flip one mountain. They attack for 2, and we block. No reason to not block. They're wasting 2 cards on Herpetic Serpent. That's fine to me. I suppose it's not really wise to bounce back the experimental synthesizer, so I'm playing the land and pass the turn. Yeah, you can keep the land for Brainstorm, but also have Lurville in my deck. Brainstorm, exile 2 lands. Kicked Bushwalker. Okay. 2 damage, alright. Lorien. Brainstorm. Okay. I guess we can draw Still Sabotage next turn. We're taking a lot of damage. We need to draw 1 terror or something else similar. Yeah, Cryptic Serpent. Maybe we should bring in the Mirroring Stick since they have a lot of creatures. Maybe we can just play the Mystic, start generating a lot of tokens, but usually you don't draw that many cards. Right, they're cracking the experimental synthesizer. They flip another synth. We cast Anno on the synth, preventing them to have another creature on the battlefield, more or less. Epicure. Alright, we have Hydro. And now we need to draw something better. Alright, we pass the turn. We take in total 6 damage. Maybe we are going to lose this game after all. Yeah, I can do match with Still Sabotage on the Modern Epicure, I guess. If they have a Goblin Tomb Raider, oh, we are dead. Yeah, we have an island on the top deck. So that's 2, 4, 6, 9 damage just this turn, and we are going to lose next turn. All right. Yeah. Nothing much we can do about that. It is what it is after all. I should have shuffled with the ponder, but I was sure to have a creature. Probably I should have not blocked it when they attacked with the 2/2 Goblin Tomb Raider. But they had a lot, double Bushwalker, double synth, no, 3 copies of experimental synthesizer, and then we had a brainstorm that didn't draw anything relevant. After all, we got brainstorm locked, and that's pretty much it. So now we are 1-2 in the challenge. We need to win every single match to hope to get in the top 8. Not very likely, but still we have a slight chance. So let's hope to get paired with good matchups, and let's hope to play better than your opponent. All right, for the third match, we are starting second. The opponent is playing first. We are against Azen01, and I think we have a kip. So we are facing Boros, maybe. I think we should get some sort of profit from this force spike. So I'm leaving him open because I can either cast Totsukawa or force spike. So while we're waiting for the opponent because he's double queuing, I think I will go on eating some ice cream because I was waiting for the start of the event, for the start of the round, and I went to the kitchen and grabbed some ice cream. So force spike on cleansing Wi-Fi is quite a card advantage. It's quite a good temp advantage.
I think I'm going to like Warp Speed. Fortunately, I already have 2 copies of Horseback in paper, so I can play the card in paper as well. 2 mini lands, but oh, okay. So even though I'd love to the idea of casting another copy of Force Spike, I also believe that it would be better to eventually cast Tutskawa. I'm not sure. Maybe we should draw the Delva, reveal Force Spike, draw the Tolerant Terror as well. I'm not really sure. Delva here is good. The second copy of Force Spike is quite bad, I guess. Hmm. So the opponent is some sort of Boros deck with cleansing Wildfire. So they are likely going also playing Lightning Bolt. No, I think we should shuffle. Okay, Mental Note is fine. I mean, we can draw the Tolerant Terror, but I don't really love the idea of playing Totskawa, milling Delver of Secrets, and also I don't want hmm, to draw so early in the game my second Tolerant Terror. I think I favor more the idea of shuffling with Ponder, trying to find Brainstorm or another Ponder. So they have another land draw. They play nothing. Maybe they have a Trap and Charm in hand, so they can exile my graveyard after casting Mental Loot. I mean, anyway, I can't really play around Trap and Charm, so I'm forcing the Trap and Charm, I think. How much mana do you make cost? 4 mana. That's a lot. That's a lot. So I guess I'm just playing Delver and passing the turn. Next turn we can play Cryptic Serpent, flip the Delver eventually. That's it. 1 red mana, Legend Bolt. Okay, you killed it. Next turn I'm paying 4 mana to play Cryptic Serpent. Probably. Let's see what they play with the experimental synthesizer. Planes. Alright, they have enough mana to cast something else. I'm playing the Cryptic Serpent now. No reason to cast Totsukawa. If you want to play around Chub and Chub, I mean, okay, we can play Totsukawa, but we are also able to play Cryptic Serpent. So at this point, it probably is better to play around. I guess what they may have, what Chub and Chub, maybe. So it is clear my opponent is on Boros Synth because they play the experimental synthesizer. They also have a Glint Hook and they reveal the Galvanic Blast um, with the experimental synthesizer. Boros Jeskai Synth. Okay, so they play both experimental synthesizer and Cryogen Relic. Galvanic Blast on me. Alright. 2 damage. I take them. And we draw this spell. Alright. So they're attacking for 6. That's a lot of damage. Now I'm thinking I'm going to cast my Tutskawa. I think I want to draw 1 land with Tutskawa and mill at least 1 Spork. Oh boy. Double counter spell. Oh well. Cryptic Serpent. Your turn, opponent. I have enough damage. I can tap a couple of creatures. I have a 2 dispels to protect my Cryptic Serpent if they want to play something like a Lightning Bolt. Let's see if they have anything relevant. Alright, they have an experimental synthesizer. They draw a relic of they have main deck relic of Progenitus. I guess they are going to crack it. Progenic relic, okay, that's fine.
I'm not tapping out in their end phase if they wanna keep their mana open because they may have double lightning bolt to kill my Corporate Serpent. No red mana, crack the relic. Alright, no more graveyard. Oh, the attack. Yeah, I'm not lethal yet, that's true. Right. So I'm taking 2 damage, and I'm also cycling the Lord Revealed. I want the extra mana eventually to cast another Lord Revealed. I have double light dispel to prevent them to. Ooh, Force Spike. I think I'm going to attack with everything because I have a Force Spike to counter their Lightning Bolt. Okay. I do wonder if I want to cast Sleep of the Dead on their Glintook because next turn I'm lethal. Mm, no, because if they play Burst Synth with Glintook, they also have Korsky Fisher, so they can play Korsky Fisher and bounce back the Glintook, countering my Sleep of the Dead. You got one Force Spike, you got another Force Spike. Cheers. This ice cream is so good. Great. There's a synthesizer, another land, a silver bluff bridge. Alright, so tap of the land doesn't really do much. Mystic Remora in the main deck. Okay. They play a land. They're likely going to crack the experimental synthesizer. They play a Kosuke Fisher. Okay. Navigator Compass. 11 life. I'm not so sure about casting Force Spike earlier. Maybe this spell was a better play because now I don't have enough graveyard to cast Slave of the Dead and to escape it in the same turn. But anyway, they're just drawing a bunch of cards. Now we are forcing double block. Ooh, okay, that's good. Tochikawa. I'm not going to pay for it. Nope. Feel free to do one card. Dalva? Hmm. Okay, so I'm sure I want to. I want to tap one Glintook. I think I I do want to attack with bot my serpent. No, I mean not sure if I want to block another creature. Maybe not yet. After all, I can play Delver and leave 2 mana open to cast this spell. Um, they have a Synth, a Creation Relic. I can do a bunch of stuff here. If I escape the Sleep of the Dead, I'm tapping out for letting them draw another card. No, probably it's better to attack here. Yeah, I'm wasting the mana, which is probably bad. And they can also tap one copy of Cryptic Serpent with the Creation Relic. Alright, so they double block. That's fine to me. That's exactly what I wanted. So now my Delver of Secrets is much better. They are likely going to tap my Cryptic Serpent with the Creation Relic. Mystic Grammar is weird, but I guess it's very strong against me. Since I also have a very slow start because I was playing around Trab and Chab. I'm not sure if they have it. Oh, oh, okay. You kill my Devler. Do you have enough artifacts to kill also my Cryptic Serpent? Two, three, or five? Yeah, they can kill all my creatures. That's truly bad. Maybe I'm dead. Jeskai Synth. Yeah, go for it. Play another Synth. I'm probably dead at this point of the game. I mean, they have a Arcane Shaman, they can kill all my creature, and they're not losing any advantage from it. If they keep just if they keep just the Delver of Secrets, probably is the wrong play. Alright. Core damage on this stack. Are you going to sacrifice the Synth or another land? Alright, they sacrifice the land. Alright. We say hi to all my teachers. They're gone. They passed the turn. I guess we can concede. I mean, uh, I I think it's very odd for me at this point of the game to go back. I should probably just consider go to game two. Yeah. All right. So okay. So to be honest, Boros Synth is not as a bad matchup. They don't really have much interaction against this kind of deck. To be honest, we can just bring in all the copies of Hydroblast and Annul and stop them from generating relevant advantage or any way to do something relevant. The worst card we can play against them is Delver of Secrets because they can just chump block with their Glintook and Korsky Fisher, so those doesn't really do much. Don't do anything relevant against them. Annul is by far the strongest card alongside Steel Sabotage because we prevent them from generating advantage. We prevent them from developing their game plan. Hydroblast is good as well because we can destroy, we can counter cleansing Wildfire and all their Pyroblast and eventually Galvanic Blast. So at least a couple Hydroblast, I think we won them. Probably we are forced to keep this Leap of the Dead. Dimifrior seems quite bad because, you know, it doesn't really do much relevant beside letting them draw another copy of Glintook. So we've more or less let them generate extra card advantage. Farspike is by far the worst card we can play against them because they can generate a lot of mana, so I'm getting rid of it. This spell I think is very strong. Maybe we should keep Deep Analysis. Counterspell I think is kind of overpriced, so we are bringing in I think at least another two copies of Hydroblast because they are likely going to have a lot of red interaction. We are getting rid of one copy of Counterspell because against decks which have a better late game compared to us, and they have a more efficient card advantage in Giant, it's probably not very good counters, but we prefer to sneak behind them, trying to steal the game thanks to our one mana interaction. And now we have a very good starting and Brainstorm, Totsukawa, Laura Village, one mana counterspell. So I think I'm going to give it. We're setting some stop, building the turn if necessary. Eating some ice cream, which is probably the strongest point of this game, eating the ice cream. Alright, so what we should do here? I believe Since we did draw another Hydroblast, now we are trying to play a bit more control-ish compared to the earlier game. So we try to keep the mana open, get rid of one copy of Tuscawa and one Tolarian Terror, cycle or really in the upkeep, and pass the turn with just one Hydroblast open. We can eventually cast Tuscawa in the end phase to get some graveyard. To be honest, it would be better to draw one Ponder or one Brainstorm to get some value from the Tuscawa, but we just need to draw better than them, more or less. So when you play Terror, whatever version you are playing, most times you are hoping to draw better than your opponent because, yeah, you have a very powerful. We have very powerful tools in Brainstorm, Ponder, Counterspell, Tolerant Terror, but you're also relying on having better top decks since you just have a bunch of 1-for-1 spells while your opponent maybe is playing Grace's Affinity or Giant Wildfire and have Refurbished Familiar, Fanatical Offering, Eviction Return Sight, writing Chrysalis. So they have a large, by far, uh, better top deck and better resources. So you are forced to have the right answer at the right time. So most times it's just a matter on getting the timing right. Or deck is called tempo because it's tried to get the tempo to force your opponent to play following your tempo. Tempo is an Italian word took from the music. I mean, from the classical music world. So it's just time in Italian, the word. Thanks, Magical Line, for letting me draw another Tolian Terror when I wasn't in need for that. So they have a land, they pass the turn. Tuscawa target me. We bin one Hydro and one Annual. Draw deep analysis. And well, I suppose we can cast Mental Note as it costs 1 mana. After doing that, we land one Tolarian Terror. If they have Power Blast, we counter it with Hydro. If not, we play the second copy of Tolarian Terror. Alright, we have the answer to their answer. So now is this your turn to draw better than me? I did draw 3 copies of Tolarian Terror. You have an experimental synthesizer, exciting galvanic blast, doesn't do much, okay, for damage on me. You can even target the Tolarian Terror because you don't have enough mana to cast it. If they have a Trap and Charm, they are willing to exile my graveyard. If not, I have a good threat right now under Terror. And we draw land, that's good. Because we cast the Tolarian Terror, leave the mana open to cast both Counterspell and Annul. Next turn, if we play both counterspells, we have a deep analysis, and I'm going to counter that experimental synthesizer because at this point of the game we just try to stop the opponent to get what they are in need. If they start with experimental synthesizer instead of trying to answer my Tolarian Terrors, that means they don't really have much demand. So there's a insert, they are in need for something to stop me from killing them. They play a land, they have 3 cards in hand, they don't have any Glintook. Okay, we did draw an Annual, which could be good to counter, I don't know, Journey to Nowhere maybe. To be honest, I think we should cast Deep Analysis here because we don't really have much cards in hand and we need to replenish our resources, try to find other threats, or try to find another card of vintage spell or interaction. We did draw an Annual, and I cast Annual on the experiment. We did draw an island to cast Annual, and we cast the Annual targeting the second copy. of experimental synthesizer in 2 turns. So that's 3 copies of experimental synthesizer since the start of this game. Seems like they did not draw anything, and we are at the third game right now. All right, so uh, I think we got pretty lucky. After all, we were able to kill them really fast. Now we need to think about eventually adding Murmuring Mystic, but I feel like Mystic is not really needed. After all, they they kept Kirkland Shaman, so I think it's fine to keep Art of Blast and eventually 3 copies of Counterspell. So I'm going to sub my deck. I'm also keeping a Sleep of the Dead, so it's probably the right thing to not bring in the Murmuring Mystic since we are already keeping the Sleep of the Dead. The Sleep of the Dead is kind of similar to this Mystic and these matchups because to let you attack your opponent or force your opponent to not attack you, since it kind of generates a situation where you are able, I'm forced to leave the mana open. It's probably, oh, oh, okay. Now you're going to hate me. I have the singleton copy of Steel Saboteur, and I'm going to bounce your artifact land. That's that's really strong. Alright, Ponder. If I find a brainstorm, I'm going to be really happy. Here is an island, Corrupted Serpent, and a Ponder. I think I'm going to draw the Corrupted Serpent because I need 1 threat right now. I'm not sure about about wanting the Ponder. I don't really need the land since I already have 2 Lorna Revealed in hand, but maybe I want to cycle over Mental Note. Anyway, Island, your turn. Let's see if you have a Relic of Progenitus or tapped white souls to cast Charm and Charm. Blue, red, creature relic. That's fine to me. Draw your card. I think I'm going to cycle the Lore Revealed. So next turn, I have a 3 mana, so I can cast Blood Mental Note a counter spell. Okay. Probably there's no reason to cast yet the Mental Note. I can eventually cycle another Lore Revealed. I think I have enough mana to cast both my Answer and when cantrip, or eventually cast the Scour, Note, and Lure. I'm kind of forced to counter this Mystic Remora because, I play a bunch of cantrip spells, so I don't really wanna give my opponent a card advantage. So I'm casting first the Mental Note. Ooh, double Hydroblast. Pretty harsh. But I have Brainstorm, so I'm kind of happy. Maybe I should cast Brainstorm here. So I can put Deep Analysis on top. That's my 4th turn. Okay. Do I need another Annual? Maybe no. Maybe not. I think I want a second copy of Corrupted Serpent. I don't want a Deep Analysis. I'm going to put on top first Deep Analysis, and on top of the Deep Analysis, the Annual. So, now I think I'm still going to play the Cryptic Serpent. If they have Pyroblast, yeah, they can kill my Serpent. That could be hurtful. I mean, it hurt a bit, but since I have another Cryptic Serpent and I have a Deep Analysis on the top and a lot of Reveal in the end, I think it's fine to me. I mean, okay, you can cast your Galvanic Blast on my Cryptic Serpent. Okay, they keep exciting Galvanic Blast. It doesn't do much, but That's fine to me, yes. Okay, Glen took, bring back the Creation Relic. I'm not sure why they first played the Experimental Synthesizer instead of the Creation Relic. That's fine, I guess. So we play the Creation Relic. Right, and at this point of the game, casting Annul on their Synth or Creation Relic doesn't do much because they already were able to land enough interaction, and I mean enough artifacts that let them draw cards. So we try to kill them with our big chunky creature over, uh, I guess, anything else. So now we are attacking, we are leaving the mana open to cast this spell. We can eventually cast Brainstorm in their end phase. I'm not really sure. Um, Karakline Shaman could be hurtful. I mean, could hurt a lot because they can kill two creatures, but still, oh, they tapping my, they putting a stun counter on my Cryptic Serpent. That's fine. Let's see if they attack. Maybe they have a Lightning Bolt on the Cryptic Serpent or a Pyroblast, not tip tapping out. We draw Deep Analysis. Since we have the Brainstorm and Ponder, I can put on top Deep Analysis and eventually a Ponder, so I can bin my Deep Analysis. I think I'm going to keep the island. So I play on land, attack with my Cryptic Serpent, and then I have 5 mana. So I can play Tutskawa, counterspell, dispel, eventually something else. I mean, I probably should play Tutskawa now, because if I draw Tolarian Terror, I want to play the Tolarian Terror. Another counterspell, that's fine to me. Okay, your turn. Galvanic Blast. Counterspell? I mean, dispel. Alright. I can eventually cycle the lower village. If I'm in need of the 7th land for the next turn. Counterspell here, so you don't have another blocker. You have just 1 red mana. I'm not lethal yet, but 12 damage are a lot. They can put a stun counter on my creature. Okay, we're losing the penalties. That's fine. A crack, the relic maybe. All right. We lose the deep analysis, but we still have a lot of reveal in end, so that's fine. Tolarian Terror, just in time. Okay. I think I'm attacking with my Cryptic Serpent. I'm not sure if I want to leave the mana open to cast Lorien, to cast Counterspell. I believe it is better to cast Lorien here since they can't answer it. We draw land, that's cool. We can keep the mana open to cast Counterspell. I can, yeah, I can play Ponder or Brainstorm here and tap out, but to be honest, I feel like playing Counterspell on the creature after resolving a Lorien Village is probably much better. If they have a Crackline Shaman, yeah, it's probably fine, but I'm forcing them to find another way to stop me from killing them. I mean, okay, they have a Creature Relic. They can put a stun counter on my creature. That's not enough, because I have another... Oh. Okay, they have the Crackline Shaman, but they have 0 cards in hand. Yep, they can sacrifice 2 serpents. They can sacrifice Synth, Creation Relic, couple lands. Let's see if they wanna keep the relic in play. Alright, they sacrifice a bunch of cards, draw just 1 card from the Creation Relic Jeskai, 1 Galvanic, sacrifice the relic, that's fine. I draw. Should I tap 7 mana to cast my Tolarian Terror? It is better to cast first my Brainstorm or Ponder. Alright, let me think. I think we are in a good position right now. We need to think about which cantrip we want to cast first. Probably it should be Brainstorm, just because we have the Ponder, and maybe we want to get rid of something we don't really like. Alright, so we have Sleep of the Dead and Totsukawa on the top, Mental Note. To learn Terra cost 3 mana. We cast another Brainstorm.
Okay, that's cool. We have another Terra. So right now my terrors cost 2 mana. If I play another spell, they will cost just 1 mana. I think we are going to shuffle with the Ponder, Sleep of the Dead, and I believe Hydroblast. I need another land for sure, and I think having 3 copies of Tyrant Terror is plenty enough to kill them next turn. So we shuffle with the Ponder, we draw a card, this spell, that's fine. You killed my double Triple Serpent, now you get 3 copies of Tyrant Terror. Your turn, opponent. I think you're pretty much dead right now. That's 15 damage after you kill my 12 damage, and that's probably enough. Right, there's a cleansing Wildfire, and that's game over. So, Burrow Synth still good matchup, even with the presence of Cryogen Relic in the deck. Easy game. And I finally won another match. We are still trying to get in the top 8 or in the top 16. Let's see. Fifth match of the Pauper Challenge. We are facing HelioLima, opponent starting first. We have a decent, yeah, we have a decent keep. We can keep. We have manipulation. We have 3 lands. We have interaction. So no reason to mulligan. Breach. Okay, that's Wildfire. I'm leaving the mana open to cast Force Spike. That's probably the best play. Even if we lose the mana this turn, doesn't really do much here, but being able to counter one cleansing Wildfire or Nickel Wellspring would be really awesome. So, I think I'm still going to play Counterspell now. Turn 1 Force Spike into turn 2 Counterspell is pretty good against decks like Giant Wildfire because they require their early game to develop their gameplay. So being able to counter Blood Fountain, a Necro Wellspring, or even better, a Cleansing Wildfire, it is very, very strong. Alright, what are you going to do here? Are you passing the turn? For sure? Okay, that's fine to me. I'm going to cast my Mental Note, discarding 2 islands. Wow, that's tough. To be honest, I prefer to draw lands. But anyway, it's still fine, maybe. Okay, so now we go for Ponder, try to find another land drop. And we have enough lands here. Okay, I'm drawing 1 land, keeping Toskawa as the last card, so I can choose between drawing 1 extra land just uh, or just casting Mental Note to get rid of the fifth land and the Totsukawa. Anyway, I think I prefer to draw both of them. Blood Fountain, not on my radar. I'm not going to let you resolve the Blood Fountain. It's probably too much strong. Okay, they can resolve or refurbish the Familia, but to be honest, I'm forced to counter the Fountain. They don't have negative spam bomb. That's good. Now we are going to play Ponder. We can technically cast Metal Note, but I prefer to draw a land and eventually after that casting Metal Note. Probably it is still better to cast first Ponder. So I don't see 3 cards with Ponder, but just 2 because I already know the third cover on the top. But then after
seeing what cards I have in my top deck, I can decide between shuffling or keeping the best cards and getting rid of the other two cards with Mental Note or eventually the other Totsukawa. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 cards in my deck in my graveyard. With Ponder and Mental Note, I will be able to cast Mental Terror. So I can search my deck, well, or rather, I can search my top deck with Ponder, trying to find another Tolarian Terror or a Cryptic Serpent or even a Delver of Secrets. My opponent has only 2 cards in hand, so maybe they don't have anything relevant. I think I really want to Lauren reveal it. So Totsukawa, Lauren reveal it. Use Ponder ability. No. Play Island. To learn Terror cost 2 match mana. So we just passed the turn. Yeah, turn opponent. Next turn we can play the Tolerant Terror. For Refurbished Familiar. I think I'm going to cast Counterspell on the Refurbished Familiar. Since, they're discarding my card, it is probably better to just cast the Counterspell on the Familiar. I'm not sure if they have a an Initiator Insight or Fanatical Offering. They likely have the Fanatical Offering, so I'm not tapping out in their end phase. I prefer to draw an extra card. I prefer to cast my Mental Note in my turn because I have enough mana to cast Tolerant Terror. So I'm forcing the opponent to play Fanatical Offering when I'm able to find this spell, so I can counter the card and leaving them with just 1 card in hand eventually. Okay. So it is very free to cast Brainstorm here, so I can maybe find another Tolerant Terror. Yeah, I have another copies of Tolerant Terror at this point of the game, I guess. I think 3 copies of Tolerant Terror is the right play. I'm putting on top Mental Note and Lurian, so I can I discard Cryptic Serpent if they have a Refurbished Familiar. That's terror number 1. I think it's going to resolve this Tolerant Terror. Terror number 2. We have Fanatical Offering, and last but not least, the 3rd copy of Tolerant Terror. Now it is time to draw. No Fanatical Offering. Okay, that's good to me. They draw land, tap 1 mana, tap 2 mana. Fanatical Offering on the artifact land. Okay. 2 mana. Fanatical Offering on the map token. Now deconsider. Okay, that's cool. Counterspell into counterspell into 3 copies of the Iron Terror is good enough, I guess. Alright, so what is our best game plan against Giant Wildfire? Well, Delver Secrets. No, thank you. It's not a good card against Giant Viper. Force Spike as well is very weak. Yeah, I was able to counter Cleansing Viper, that's sure. But I'm not going to cast any more Force Spikes in this game, this match. The Inferior is bad as well, and we can get rid of Sleep of the Dead eventually. Why? Because we are bringing in Murmuring Mystic. So let me choose the cards in my sideboard. So first, Annul, and still Sabotage. 5 more cards to go. I think I'm bringing in 2 copies of Murmuring Mystic and Slip of the Dead. I think Murmuring Mystic is much better compared to Cryptic to Slip of the Dead. Yeah, because okay, you can tap the Nixmore Hydra or the creature with the Hydra bestowed with Murmuring Mystic. I mean,
but Mystic is way better to stop your opponent from attacking you, and it's also way better to generate so many creatures that requires interaction. If they have enough interaction to kill your Cryptic Serpent or Tolarian Terror, yeah, that's true. They can also counter Sleep of the Dead, but Mystic is better than Sleep of the Dead because it is also a creature, and we are sideboarding out Delver of Secrets since the card is very weak against Retribution Familiar. We are keeping all the counter spells because we are not playing Dimir Terror. If I were on Dimir Terror, I'm probably probably was gonna get rid of some copies of Counterspell because I play Snuff Out in Dimir Terror, and Snuff Out is better to counter um, my opponent Written Chrysalis. I can bring in Envelope, to be honest. I think I'm bringing in Envelope and wording out coupled counterspell. After all, one mana counterspells are much better in this matchup compared to two mana counterspells. Counterspell is still fine because it's a way to interact with every kind of card my opponent could have, but envelope is a 1 mana way to interact with Duress or Cleansing Wildfire, or yeah, just Duress, Cleansing Wildfire, but that's plenty enough to me. So they have a 2-1 Mountain, which is weird. They don't do anything in turn 2. Alright, so Brainstorm. Do you have Pyroblast on Brainstorm? Wow, I wasn't expecting that. It seems like a bad way to spend your mana. After all, I have enough cards in hand. I do have the land. What do you have now? Okay, you have all your color, but you don't have artifact lands. Do you have a dress? Do you have another Pyroblast? Maybe Pyroblast my brainstorm. I don't want the Murmuring Mystic right now. Mystic is a late game card. I think I'm going to get rid of land. I'm keeping the still Sabotage just because it's a way to interact with the artifact. They haven't played an artifact yet. I'm drawing one island with DeLorean on top. A Ponder will be 1 Ponder or 11 Dispel. It's fine. Okay, so now we have a lot of interaction. If they have a Retribution Familiar, we have still Sabotage. If they have Duress, we have Envelope. If they have Pyroblast, we have Dispel. That's fine to me. The only troublesome stuff is Reaching Chrysalis. Let's see if they have it. I mean, they did they did nothing until now, so it's very likely to have a Reaching Chrysalis after casting that Pyroblast. Okay, they're keeping the mana, so maybe they have another Pyroblast or two in there. They're not doing anything yet. I mean, they're not doing anything. I'm not doing anything. They block me on the upkeep. Okay. What is going on? Are you double queuing? Tutskawa? Alright, so land, pass. I'm going to cast Tutskawa, target me, milling down, binging. I don't really know if this is the best way to. Okay, so Tutskawa, counterspell. We did draw the counterspell. That's quite surprising. We also were quite unlucky with the Tutskawa because we put in the bin a copy of Murmuring Mystic, but since we have other stuff we can do, I think we are kind of fine. So Terror. Should I keep my mana open? Should I play the Cryptic Serpent? Okay, that's pretty bad. If I have another Mystic, if I have another Chrysalis, the second Chrysalis will be so huge that will not let me attack. That's really troublesome. Okay, I guess I'm quite kind of forced to leave it pre-mana open.
because I don't have an answer to a second copy of Chrysalis, but I have anything else like Duras. Oh, I have the envelope. No Duras for you, unless you have a double Power Blast. 1, 2, Icor Wellspring. Still Sabotage. Do you like it? So they're passing the turn, and I'm casting Mental Note in my instead. I need to draw some relevant cards. Totkawa is not one relevant card, but now, since we milled down one envelope, I'm quite sure we don't really have any more way, any other way to counter the duress. So if they have a duress, they can discard my Dispel. Carkline Shaman, that's fine. I have a Dispel if they're Toxin Analysis. Or a Fanatical Offering, or whatever. Probably should cast the Totkawa. Should I target them? Yeah. If I draw a Deep Analysis, I prefer to cast it from my hand. Okay, Familiar and Viscerator Insight. We can counter the Viscerator Insight. Double Cryptic Serpent? Well, that's quite something. They have a Toxin Analysis. They black. Are they going to sacrifice? We counter. Should I counter it? They have 3 cards in hand. I guess so. We are kind of forced to counter the Fanatical Offering. We take 5 damage, and we land another Cryptic Serpent. I suppose they don't have the Toxin because they choose to play the Fanatical Offering. Now we are forcing them to have an answer to at least one Cryptic Serpent. We're in Chrysalis number 2. Alright. Okay, I guess we should prefer Sleep of the Dead over the Murmuring Mystic. If I attack, I'm losing one creature, but since I have another couple Cryptic Serpent, I guess I just attack. They're not blocking with the Chrysalis. They're taking 10 damage, that's weird. Why they choose to keep to take the 5 damage? Weird. Okay, I think I'm lethal. I have an off creature. They have an answer. If you have Shaman, Toxin, you win. But I think I can't really play around it. Pyroblast, that's fine. More or less. Another Chrysalis. Tools of Muraza, bring back Chrysalis. We are not lethal anymore. Alright, Ponder. Shuffle. At least we did draw another land. So I'm attacking with everything. We lose one Cryptic Serpent, but we deal 5 damage. We keep one Serpent on the battlefield. We can't really do much here. Sleep of the Dead is very much better in this situation compared to Murmuring Mist. Maybe I should play both of those cards. I don't know. Yeah, that's kind. They're okay. They lock in the Fire and Tail. That's a good play. I play the land, so I can play Lauren Reveal the next turn. I'm kind of forced to not attack anymore. They have now more blockers than my creature. Kind of lost to Power Blast into Pulse of Muraza. Even if I had the counterspell, it is not good enough. Yeah, because they have Chrysalis, and with Chrysalis they can generate extra tokens, so they can block with the tokens, and the other Chrysalis very very bad to me. At this point of the game, I win only if I draw the second copy of Murmuring Mystic. Brainstorm. Well, draw 3 cards. I'm drawing cards, hoping that is enough. You can yield your turn when you are tapped out, opponent. Okay, Ireland, Ponder, Terror. I don't need another Terror. Shuffle. Okay, pass the turn. Kind of lost when I decided to bring in Murmuring Mist instead of Slip of the Dead, but I always found Murmuring Mystic really strong in the matchup. What should I board out to bring in Slip of the Dead? I think I want Envelope and Hydroblast. Maybe I should cut Counterspell if I don't want to cut Murmuring Mystic. Mystic. Brainstorm, Locket. Okay. Your turn, opponent. To be honest, they can start attacking with their Chrysalis, but maybe they are fearing the Slip of the Dead, which is reasonable. The rest, yeah, sure, go ahead. Now you can cast the Visualizer Insight. Tell me, why Phonetic Offering over Visualizer Insight? Tell me why. You sacrifice the map token, reveal Nihil Spellbomb, likely going to bin the Spellbomb. No reason to keep the Spellbomb on the top, since I have 3 copies of Annual in my hand. They can't attack, I can't attack. If I attack, I'm going to lose 2 creatures, so we just pass the turn. They draw the Spellbomb, I annul the Spellbomb, unless they keep the Spellbomb in hand. Cycle Landscape, right? 1 red mana, 1 red and 1 black. Extract a Confession. Okay, suppose I'm dead. Rest. Yeah, go ahead. You have Spellbomb in hand. I have another island on the top deck. They're not attacking. I think you can just let me draw, please. Alright, your turn. Not so many reasons to keep the Nihil Spellbomb while I have 3 copies of Annual. Well, now I have 2 copies of Annual. Seems like they did not notice they have a Visualizer Insight in their graveyard, or maybe they're casting it now. If they do that, they're going to sacrifice 1 land. Okay, why? Do they have another creature? They have the cast down. So evil. Now they can attack with the 5/6 creature. With the 8/9 creature. 12 life left. Ponder on the top deck.
Deep analysis, Hydroblast, Island. If I cast a deep analysis, I draw Hydroblast and Island. If I flashback, I'm going down to 9. To be honest, I think I don't have that much life to be able to flashback the deep analysis. The game is kind of over. Good for them. Okay, let me think. Probably I should just bring in a Sleep of the Dead instead of Mystic. They have a Visceratoins, they have the Edict and in their deck the Sorcery Edict, so Envelope is strong, quite strong against them. So Mystic doesn't do really much because they have an extra removal spell for that creature, so I can't really protect the Mystic unless I keep all my counter spells. I don't really have much creatures, so to be honest. So unless I board out some stuff like Totsukawa, Ponder, or Mental Note, I'm not really able to keep enough creatures. I think I'm just going to Submite like here, and oh dear, this end is quite bad. To be honest, I don't really think. I think we should keep it, but we don't do much in the early game. We have interaction, which is good. We have a counter spell to interact with the early game Pyroblast. I mean, Duress. We can annul their Equal Wellspring or Nihil Spellbomb. But we have a Sleep of the Dead, which is a dead card at this point of the game. We don't have any cantrip, but well, if I draw a cantrip, a ponder, or whatever it is, it will be very good. Envelope, that's fine. Pass the turn. Let's see what they have. Grass or Wildfire? Dress. Dress. I think I should envelope the dress. So I can cycle the cap a one lander. Wow. Okay, that's real something. I'm not sure if I want to cycle the Lore Reveal it, just because if I draw a Brainstorm, I prefer to keep my Lorien in hand so I can shuffle. Well, we draw Toxikawa, so that's kind of fine. Duress, another Duress, yeah. Counter Spoiler. Now I can cycle the Lorien, so I can even play the Deep Analysis if I found it. Tolerant Terror. Alright, that's time to play the Tolerant Terror then. Tetsukawa. Ooh, pretty brutal. Tolerant Terror and Island in the graveyard, and now we play the Terror, so I will be able to deal some damage eventually. Fontaine, that's brutal. Play Island. Attack. But to be honest, they have just one land. So unless they draw a land here, that will be still bad for them because now they are forced to crack the blood token. I think I'm going to cast Hanu here just because I don't want to discard one extra card to tap the Refurbished Familiar. Mental Note, don't mind if I cast it. I want to find another creature. Now we are little next turn, but because the opponent kept the one lander, that's really surprising to me. I mean, why did you keep a one lander? Maybe a misclick, or you thought that double duress was good. But we have here Shaman, Pyro, this spell on Pyro Blast. Another answer. If you don't have a blocker, that's game over. Well, to be honest, you lose when you kept having just one lander for 6 turns. two match left for the channel for the challenge, and the opponent is starting first. There is a Delver of Secret, so I'm going to keep it. We also have a double to Skawa, mental note, revealed, so that's fine to me. Fountain, okay. What kind of mono red do you have? Mono red rally, so mono red synth with probably the Hamburg. They're starting with turn 1 Gingerbread. I'm not sure if I want to cast Delver of Secrets right now. But if I play Delver now, then they can't play Burning Emissary plus Rally on turn 2 or something similar. So they're forced to kill the Delver. And if not, I'm going to have a creature that could be bigger than them. Tethering Pigs. Okay, that's weird. They're attacking. I'm going to block the Gingerbread. Losing the Delver is kind of fine. So we draw one card. Land. Mental Note. So we have now Terror, Delver, Ponder, and Mental Note in the graveyard. The inferior costs 2 mana, so we can't cast it. We pass the turn, cast its Kawar, mill to cards. Killing the Gingerbread was a very good play, unless they have another artifact. If they have another artifact, I can't really play around. Or, oh, what the fuck? What is it? It is artifact equipment. Flash. When this equipment enters, you get 2 energy counters. When it enters, it attacks to a creature you control, and the creature gets +2/+0. So it's a very bad card. I mean, if you play this card in mono red synth, it is a lot. I think it's just bad. I mean, it's not direct damage. It's just a way to let your opponent get an advantage from their removal spells. Wow, I was able to mill not even one single spell with my Totsukawa. So I'm playing now the Totsukawa, milling just one spell. Torrentara costs 2 mana. Okay, what I'm going to do here? For sure, I'm going to play the Torrentara. So I'm casting Force Brainstorm, Double Delver. I don't want to cast Double Delver. Probably just I should play the inferior on the Goblin Tomb Raider. Yeah, that's probably better. You're going to draw again the Goblin Tomb Raider in 2 turns. Now it is better to play the Tyrant Terror because I can block the 4/2 creature instead of if I play the inferior, I'm taking 2 damage. Oh, they have the double Bashwooker, so I'm dead. 2, 4, 7 damage. I am going down to 2. Oh, I lost the terror. Brutal. I think I should concede. There's no way to be back in game. Too many Goblin Tomb Raiders. Lost to a very weird equipment, to be honest. I think the cards are not really good. Anyway, we just need to draw the Blue Elemental Blast at this point. So I bring in 6 copies of Blue Elemental Blast, Still Sabotage, and Couple Annual. I'm going to get rid of Dollar of Secrets, Deep Analysis, and I think also the Inferior. So I'm bringing in at least 1 Annual. I don't need the Sleep of the Dead. Sleep of the Dead is very bad, in my opinion, against Mono Red Synth. It is not a way to interact with their stuff. And Annual, I think, is much better. Alright, so Submite. Now we have
10 1 mana, 10 extra 1 mana counter spell. So we keep a decent starting end with Hydroblast. They keep 7 cards. We pass the turn. If they don't do nothing, we have Brainstorm, Lower, and Village, but they're likely going to do something. I mean, why not? All right. So Hydroblast on Older Epicure is fine. We cycle the Lower Village, play Island. Should I cast Ponder over Brainstorm? I think it's still better to leave the mana open, just to give just to bluff on 1 mana counter spell. Yeah, that an epic or number 2. It enters the battlefield. Do you have a Goblin Tomb Raider now? What? Yeah, why not? Tormod Crypt? Okay. Seems like I'm going to win this game. Brainstorm? Okay, I do need the Bull Elemental Blast. Maybe I don't need this spell. I think we can also shuffle back the Ponder. Maybe going to cast Mental Note, hoping to find another land. To be honest, I think the opponent is likely going to crack the Talmud script in response to the Mental Note. Maybe it is better to cycle the lower village. But if I cycle the lower village, they're not going to crack the Talmud script, so it's probably better to cast Mental Note, yeah. So they're thinking about cracking Talmud script right now, or yeah. To be honest, I think they just need to crack it when I'm casting Mental Note. So I'm casting Mental Note. They're forced to crack the Talmud script in my upkeep since I'm casting Mental Note in my upkeep. Yeah. Or maybe I should draw the Ponder. Yeah, I'll draw the Ponder. Because I'm not sure to be able to draw another card that lets me a. Why you did let the Mental Note resolve? Okay, I missed one land drop, but that doesn't really matter. I mean, I was able to resolve a Tolarian Terror. Nice Tormod script opponent. Okay, now you can crack it. So I thought I wasn't able to draw one land, and I am missing one land drop. Being able to resolve a Tolarian Terror against an opponent which probably relies on killing me through the combat step is good enough. Okay. I do wonder if we're going to crack the Talmud script. Yep, they cracked it. Now they don't have Metacraft anymore, so they can't cast Galvanic Blast to deal 4 damage. Burning Tree. Okay, so they play both Burning Tree Emissary, Gingerbread, and that weird equipment. So you have 2 mana. They have land and Power Blast. They crack the Blood token with the green mana. They have 1 red mana left in the pool. Lightning Bolt face. Tethering Picks. Probably should block the Modern Epicure. To be honest, I think Tethering Picks is very bad. Tapped land in mono red seems very strong, very wrong. Okay, now I can brainstorm and shuffle back the Cryptic Serpent if I don't find any Totsukawa or Mental Note. I have the Blue Mental Blast to counter their threats. They have only one card in hand. Counterspell on the top deck. Maybe it is better to just cycle or reveal it. Yeah, I can. I feel like just leaving the 2 mana open to cast counterspell is fine as well. Alright, opponent. What are you going to do? 2 mana. Rallied Omburg. Counterspell, I guess. You dig it? Yeah. Not attacking. That's fine to me. Dispel. Alright. I'm casting Brainstorm because I totally like having Serpent Serpent, so I can put the Serpent and another dead card on the top and shuffle with Ponder. Yeah, I can cast my Cryptic Serpent a couple turns, but to be honest, I'm not sure I'm really going to do it. I mean, after all, I have only 2 cards in my graveyard. 2 copies of Annual. Annual is probably worse here compared to Cryptic Serpent. I can counter one Experimental Synthesizer. I can counter as well Gingerbread or other stuff, so I think I'm keeping one Annual. So probably Brainstorm or Dispel. Maybe Dispel. Dispel is not very great against them. Yeah, you can counter Red Elemental Blast. Shuffle, easy shuffle. You can counter Red Elemental Blast, Pyroblast. But to be honest, I already have in hand of one Blue Elemental Blast, and they don't really have anything relevant in play besides 2 creatures, and they're not attacking. So I keep one Annual, another Cryptic Serpent. I'll cast Brainstorm. Maybe I should cast my Brainstorm right now. They have just one card in hand. Should I miss another line route? Maybe I don't want to tap out because if I don't draw exactly one land here, tapping out for Brainstorm, it feels so wrong. Yeah, I should pass. I have a bunch of 1 mana interaction and I want to play a Cryptic Serpent next turn, so losing another land drop is not really troublesome here. So, your turn, opponent. Waiting for Magical Line Lag to work out. Pass the turn. Now we are waiting for the opponent in my end combat phase. It is really weird for mono red to have a stop in the opponent and on end of combat. 2 mana, Rally the Hamburg. Okay, if I let the card the Rally the Hamburg resolve, we are taking 4 damage, going down to 8. I think it's kind of fine because we have another Cryptic Serpent in hand, so we can take the damage, resolve the Cryptic Serpent, block again. If they don't attack here, there's not really any reason to play the rally. So we block, take 8 damage. 8 4 damage going down to 8. Cast Brainstorm. They can't even Pyroblast my Tail. Maybe they have a Lightning Bolt, they can Lightning Bolt me, but that's fine. I mean, I prefer to keep my Blue Elemental Blast to counter Goblin Bushwhacker. So that Rally the Hamburg was just 2 mana for damage. Yeah. Okay, they're thinking about my Brainstorm. Or maybe they're just playing 2 matches alongside. Double Q. Is that you? So we missed the line drop. or rather, we have the Lorien revealed. If I cycle, maybe I should, yeah, I get rid of Anno and Mental Note, cycle the Lorien, and then I have another 2 creatures to champ black. That's fine too. That's good. I need to play around the Goblin Bushwalker. Okay. 2 damage, Galvanic Blast. Cycle Lorien. Please, yeah, the opponent, you can't do anything. There's no reason uh, to not let the people play. Okay, I'm going to play Cryptic Serpent for sure. If I play the Tolarian turn, I can attack. But if they draw 1 Goblin Bushwalker, how much damage I'm getting? So 2, 4, 6, 9. I'm blocking 5 damage and take 4 damage. No, that's too much. If I cast the Tolarian Terror here, I can't really attack. But if I attack with, if I leave the blue mana open, I think I can attack because it's not really worth for them to attack and lose the Burning Tremissary. So I can deal 5 damage. Ooh, Annual on Clockwork Percussionist. Sweet. You're not going to draw 1 card from your Clockwork Percussionist. If they want to attack, they're going to lose the Burning Tremissary. That's fine to me. Okay, I take 2 damage. I have a Blue Elemental Blast in my hand. And a couple islands. Now I can attack with my terrors because they have just a couple creatures and they have a Blue Elemental Blast. Now they are forced to be on the defense. They can't really attack here. They decide to attack. Maybe they have a lightning bolt. They want to lightning bolt me. That's not something I should worry about. Okay, they lightning bolt in end phase. Okay. Nice draw. Can we go to game 3? I'm going to cast Totkawa to get in them because I want to get some extra information. So yeah, that's more or less Synth with Thomas Script and the equipment with the energy counters. I think it is fine how we sideboarded. I think we should keep the Dispel because they have a Galvanic Blast. Maybe they have also a Mental Blast. I think it is fine to keep all my terror. It is fine to not bring in Delver. Delver is very bad in the matchup, in my opinion. It's slow because you are required to flip it to be able to block your opponent creatures. Yeah, you can chum block Gingerbread. Okay, that's not enough, probably. You lost the die roll, waiting for Martani to decide whether or not to play first. I think he will play first. Okie dokie. We have a turn to counter spell brainstorm mental note. I'm going to keep it. Kind of weak if they have a good start, but they're mulling down to 5, and that's good to me. I can eventually draw one Hydroblast or one Force Spike. On the top, let's see. Goblin Tomb Raider. 1 mana counter, Force Spike, Terror. That's not quite good as 1 mana counter spell, but it's still a 1 mana spell. If you have enough, instant sorcery in your graveyard. Okay, let's see if my opponent that mulled down to 5 have enough cards to kill me in time. They play both Relic of Progenitus and Tomo's Crypt. Wow, that's surprising. Okay, I'm taking 2 damage. They pass the turn, I play Brainstorm, and there it is, the ammo. Okay, so I'm putting on the top 2 creatures. I'm drawing the Tolarian Terror. And then I'm going to cycle the Lorna Village in the end phase, or eventually cast first Mental Note and then cycle because or maybe it's just better to cycle the Cryptic Cycle. I don't know. At this point of the game, they're probably just hoping for that Relic of Progenitus to work out, and you know, Goblin Marauder is good. It's a very strong card against me. But it is good only when I don't have Tolarian Terror on the battlefield. So let's hope for the opponent let's hope to have a decent game after this mulligan, after this mull to 5. It is really surprising to me that they have both Relic of Magenitus and Torment Script. To be honest, I feel like those cards are not really needed in mono red. To be honest, I prefer Pyroblast and Red Elemental Blast against decks like Mono Blue Child. But if you have Torment Script or Relic in the turn 1 or turn 2, yeah, I suppose the card is good. Let's see if your Relic of Progenitus is good enough to stop me. After all, you have mulled down to 5, so you have 2 cards in hand and nothing else. Yeah, you draw 1 card now. So, can you imagine your opponent drawing Thomas Creep right now? That would be savage. Alright, so there is a great Furnish. And I'm going to cast Counter Spell on their Reckless Impulse. I don't want to let them draw too many cards, and Reckless Impulse seems like too good when your opponent will it down to 5. So, what are you doing? I'm going to cycle the Lorna Reveal it anyway. They have 1 card in hand, 1 mana open. We cycle Lorien, probably play Ponder, because even if I play Totsukawa and after cycling Lorien, I don't have enough cards in my graveyard to cast the Lorien Terror. Okay, so we are in the second main phase. The opponent is passing the turn. Come on, let me play. Now we wait. Okay, that's probably the most relevant phase during your turn, the end phase. Especially since I tap it out and you don't really want to do something. Cycle the lore, reveal it. Find a land, draw a card, and wait for the opponent since it is double queuing. We'll wait. We'll wait a while. Good night, opponent. You're still here. Can you imagine playing against a player that forces you to wait 1 minute every time in every phase in paper? Like I have 0 cards in and I'm tapped out, but my opponent is drawing a card. What I can do here? Let me think. Okay, we'll wait, I guess. You're wasting both my time and your time, I guess. I know. I play Ponder. I can find an Night Blast. Brainstorm is fine. So I can play Brainstorm, get rid of some bad cards. On the top deck, we have a Brainstorm, and not a Lorien and an Island. Open for them to have an artifact so I can counter it. Not the reckless simples, playing around Spell Pierce, they have a Goblin Bashwalker. That's a good mulligan to 5, my opponent, but you tap it out. I think I'm going to cast the Scour because we have one island on the top deck, so we can exile the island and still have another spell. So next turn we play the Tolarian Terror and we draw the Blue Elemental Blast. That's nice. Island exiled. We get 5 damage from this combat. And then we resolve one Tolarian Terror because they tap it out thanks to Relic. Thanks to Reckless Impulse. So, not really good Relic right now. Tolarian Terror, Tolarian Terror. I wanna resolve my serpent. Please, let me play. I wanna finish this game. I wanna go to sleep. Help me, someone. Can't just spawn a top deck. Okay. Brainstorm. There is a land. There is also still Sabotage. But I'm not going to bounce back the Relic of Progenitus. I'm going to force the opponent to crack it after I have enough cards in my graveyard, so they are kind of forced to crack it. My Tolerant Terror costs 2 mana. I think I can put on the top 2 annuals, so I'm not forced to cast immediately my Totsukawa. Maybe I want to draw 1 annual. So I play land, tap 2 mana, cast Tolerant Terror, pass the turn. Now they're kind of forced to cast a Lightning Bolt on my Tolarian Terror if I block the Goblin Tomb Raider. And if they attack, I'm blocking the Goblin Tomb Raider. Okay. Goblin Bashwalker on the top deck, I guess. Counter. Now you can crack your Relic. I block the Goblin Tomb Raider. No need to fear the Lightning Bolt. I mean, they don't have enough mana to pay the ward cost, so they're Lightning Bolting me. And I have just 1 card left in hand, which are not playing it right now. Should I draw 1 copy of Annual? I already have 1 Steel Sabotage. I think I can play the Totsukawa. Yeah, that's cool, because if I draw another creature, yep, I can eventually play it. Okay, let me think. I think I'll play the Ponder. This spell 2 islands. Nope. Shuffle. Brainstorm. That's fine. How much mana for the Cryptic Serpent? 3 mana. I can play the Cryptic Serpent and pass the turn. I'm not attacking. They have 1 card in hand. I'm losing if they have Fire Blast and Lightning Bolt. And I already played 2 Divination, so I think it's fine to cast the Cryptic Serpent here. I'm not fearing much anything. Unless they have, well, okay, we can block the Clockwork Percussionist if they're willing to attack. I'm blocking with the Serpent. They exile another Clockwork Percussionist. And they have a Voldaren Epicure. A lot of creatures. Another counter spell. Right. Should I cast my Brainstorm? I think I can wait eventually. I mean, I can wait until I'm in need of something maybe, or I find something that let me shuffle or mill the cards on the top deck. Also, I have in hand all the cards I have in hand. I think I want them. So they draw a land. There's discarding the land with the blood token. That's fine. No more metal craft for them. It attack with everything is fine. We can block the Bashwalker and the Epicure. We take 1 damage. We go down to 5. No, I can't see any reason to let them draw 1 card with the Glockwork Percussionist yet. We can wait. They're probably going to attack again with the Percussionist next turn. We're thinking... Oh, wait, they probably just double king. MTGO would be much better without double Q. We waste a lot of time just for people not doing anything. Come on, opponent. They pass the turn. We draw 1 card. That's cover. Okay. Alright, brainstorm. We have another Cryptic Serpent. Force Spike. It is probably much dead here. I think we can draw the Cryptic Serpent. I can attack with everything and cast my Cryptic Serpent. I feel like I don't really want to cast my second Cryptic Serpent, but because I want to leave the mana open to cast double counterspell. But I can attack with everything because I don't know what block the Clockwork Percussion is. It's just 1 mana. They have just 1 card in it. So I'm putting on top Force Spike and Cryptic Serpent. I can decide about drawing the Cryptic Serpent next turn. Yeah, Force Spike is pretty much dead right now. And by attacking with everything, they need to choose between attacking me next turn or blocking my Cryptic Serpent. What are you gonna do? Anyway, if they don't attack with the Clockwork Percussionist, I can just bounce it back with Steel Sabotage. What did you draw, my opponent? You don't fear my attackers? What do you have in it? Tarmat Crypt? That's okay. They have Galvanic Blast in it, I guess. I can bounce back the Clockwork Percussionist. That would be hilarious. I mean, that's... I bounce back the Clockwork Percussionist and then counter it with the counterspell. No, wait. I just counter it, the Galvanic Blast. Game is over. Okay. You have 0 cards in hand. You, I think you are already dead. Are you going to concede? Why you stop me in my upkeep when you are already dead? Wow. I was able to draw my Cryptic Serpent. And we attack with everything. Yeah, I was able to win. Unexpected. So sweet. And finally, the last match of this Pauper challenge, we are starting first against cgouldner. And we have a decent start with turn 1 Force Spike or Mental Note, followed up by Counterspell on turn 2. That's pretty cool. I mean, we have 2 good starts to good way to start the game. So we just wait for the opponent to do something. We have relevant turn 1, we have Force Spike. And I guess turn 1 Force Spike on Fierce Seer is kind of good. After all, we are playing against Mono Blue Faeries, and Mono Fairies isn't really good as matchup. I mean, yeah, we have Murmuring Misting in the sideboard. We may have Gutshot, maybe? Counterspell of Strix. Let's see if they have an interaction to the counterspell. They don't have it. Alright, so we try to stick the Tolerant Tower on turn 3. They play the Brian Barrel Intruder. I guess they just want to play Ninja. Wow. Mental Note milling down 2 islands. Mental Note again. Deep Analysis and Cryptic Supper. Tolerant Tower costs 2 mana, so I can't cast my Tower. But I can cast Demon Furor targeting the Brian Barrel Intruder. So next turn they can't play any Ninja. Now they choose to put on the bottom the Brian Barrel Intruder. They play Fairy Seer. Let's see if they have another spell. If they have another land, alright. Okay. I don't know. I could play my Tolarian Terror, but I'm worried about the counterspell. I don't really wanna let them counter my Brainstorm with a spell status Sprite, but if they counter the Brainstorm, I can cast Tolerant Terror and depenalize it. So I think, I guess it's fine to let them counter my Brainstorm. Counterspell. I haven't played yet one land. Okay. So Brainstorm and Island on top. Play Island. Play Tolerant Terror. Do you have a counterspell? They don't have counterspell. At this point, I guess Demon Fear on Fairy Seer is the right play. They can counter it with Spell Pierce, but if they don't have Spell Pierce, they can't ninjutsu the fairy. Alright? Art cast ninja. That's fine to me. Demon Fear proved to be good against fairies until now. Well, I draw 2 copies of Demon Fear after all. Okay, so I think I'm willing to play Brainstorm. I have 2 cards in hand. I think I wanna keep them open to cast Counterspell. I don't really like the Totsukawa right now, so I'm going to put Totsukawa and Island on top. I want to draw all those lands, and because I also want to play my Lore Reveal It, and I pass the turn. If they have Naria Strix, I'm going to counter it. If they have Fire Seer, I'm going to counter it, so I can cast counter spell without being worried about any sprite. Okay, and they can't ninjutsu that Fire Seer. That's very relevant in my opinion. So I play Island, and I think I'll pass the turn. They don't have counterspell, they don't have spell burst, so it is the right play. Lore revealed here. What? I'm quite surprised. I was expecting them to counter back the Fierce Seer, to counter back to protect the Fierce Seer and land one ninja, but seems like they don't have another ninja. Maybe they have a sprite. I think I prefer casting Toskawa to get in them because I prefer to cast Deep Analysis from my hand if I draw it. They likely have a sprite, they mill down 2 ninjas, and they draw 1 Tolerant Terror. So we can start attacking with the first Tolerant Terror. That's fine. That's good. So they don't have sprite because there's no reason to not counter the Toskawa. I don't know what they have. Maybe a land. I'm countering this first here. Oh, okay, they have this, but let's see what they're going to do with this fairies here. One on top, one bottom. Brainstorm from the top. Creature, Larian, whatever. Okay. Um, should I cast just cover mulling my ponder? Or rather, I can put on top. Oh, wait, they put one card on top with the first here. So I'm putting on top of my deck Island and Ponder. Then I cast Touch Cover, milling them so they can't draw the card they wanted off of mine. Not today. I cast Ponder, and we have another Tolarian Terror. So I can start attacking with double Terror, and then have another Tolarian Terror to attack back next turn. I'm drawing 2 lands, but I think that's good enough. I mean, they don't have so many creatures, and they are forced to block sooner or later. So maybe we are able to win this game against probably the worst matchup for me. Tolarian pass the turn, your turn apply. And they concede. Nice. Totskawa milling you was the right call after all. Okay, I'm quite pleased by that. All right, so cards that I think are bad in this match. Sleep of the Dead. And we're bringing in Murmuring Mystic. I think Dimir Fear is good enough to play it. To be honest, we can try to bring in Anu as a way to counter the Ramal spells, but maybe it is not the right call. So I'm going to submit 2 copies of Murmuring Mystic, hoping they are enough. Wow, very suspicious starting end. We have a double Tyrant Terror, we have a Brainstorm, but 2 copies of Deep Analysis, and I think we can take a mulligan. All right, that's way better. We put on the bottom the Deep Analysis, and we start with a Delver of Secrets. We have a double counterspell. They have a turn 1 Fairies Seer. Likely they're going to Ninja the Fairies Seer. That will be troublesome, but we can do anything about that unless we play Gas Shot and we start the game with Gas Shot in the starting end. To be honest, I think Gas Shot is worth mostly 12s, but as I already said, with blind flip the Delva, and I'm not going to attack with my Delva. I think or rather, I can start attacking because they don't have the ninja. There's no reason to not play the ninja on turn 2. If they start tapping out, cast the ninja, I can play Totsukawa and Learn Village and cast my Cryptic Serpent by turn 3. Maybe I should attack with my Delver to chip some damage. That's 3 damage. Let me think. If they don't attack with my Delver, they're not going to attack with their Freezer. But probably I should start attacking. Yeah, we can take the risk of attacking here. They haven't. If they draw Ninja, they're forced to tap out. So, okay, they have an Void Clear Blade. Should I counter it? I think so. I have 2 copies of Counterspell. Countering 1 creature, 1 non-fairy creature may be good. I'm not sure. If they have Snap on my Terror, on my Delver, is very bad. Let's see. Okay, they have another Fairy Seer. Find a monster on my Delver, so they took 6 damage from my Delver of Secrets, and they missed the land drop. They put another 2 cards on the bottom, so no lands yet. I can play Totsukawa, but yeah, I should play first Totsukawa because if I draw a Brainstorm, I can try to play Brainstorm and then cycle the Lower Village. or maybe I can play safely and cycle first, and then yeah. To be honest, since I have double creature in my hand and I'm playing against a fairy spell Sutter Sprite deck, I feel like casting Brainstorm here instead of hmm, instead instead of cycling instead of yeah, I think it's better to cast to first cycle Lorien Revealed and then cast Brainstorm. Even if I don't draw a Mental Note or Lorien Revealed, I can still put one spell on the battle on the graveyard to cast my creature. So, so now I have 5 spell, 6 if you count also the Lorien Revealer. I think I need to think about keeping or not the dispel. Probably, mm, well, I can anyway shuffle the Delver and I can eventually draw the dispel if I want it. Let's see. Alright, we draw land, the attack. I think I want to draw my dispel. They'll likely have one counter spell in hand. Island. Play the island. Play Carpetic Serpent. If, oh, they don't have counter spell, so I'm going to cast Tarot as well. Now we have some damage on the battlefield. They draw another land. So after bottoming down 2 cards with a second first seer, they draw 2 lands. I have much more damage on the battlefield. Seems like they are going to tap my Cryptic Serpent. Okay, just 1 card in hand. We attack with Tarot. If I draw my Mystic, I'm playing the Mystic. Okay, that was, should I say, unexpected. I think it is probably probably the best card I could draw in that point of the game. And that's game over. We were able to win against 2-0. Nice. All right. So, people, that was a really great result. 5-2 winning against Mono Blue Fairies. 4 spike on turn 1 Fairies here. Yeah, the first spike was the right call for this event, for this proper challenge. We faced 0 copy of Spy, just 1 copy of Mono Red Madness. But, you know, I think the deck performed really well. Well, I lost 2 games, I lost 2 matches against Mono Blue Terra and against, I don't quite remember, I should watch the replays. Mm, yeah, I, I don't really remember. But anyway, the deck to me is still seems still quite strong. With the player we faced in the second round is which was playing Mono Blue Terra, is 4-2 and is still playing the match, still is playing the third game. Maybe we'll be able to get in top 8 if we win this last match. I think I'm going to end in the top 16, but still, I think for you people watching this video, or rather, I hope for you people watching this video, the content I wanted to show you is good enough. You know, Terror is not played by so many content creators, so I wanted to show you something that you may wanted to see, since probably I played plenty the deck. I recorded plenty videos with Mono Terra and Dimir Terra, but just in Italian. So I wanted to show you something that maybe is still lacking in the Pauper YouTube and even Twitch. So I think the video is going to stop here, since I don't feel that we'll get in the top 8 with this score, with these results.
But to be honest, for me, to me, this result is already good enough. So thank you for watching now, and see you to the next video.